play other teams. Oh, what blood-curdling screams that's coming. But when Met fans shout, go, what they mean we all know. We've got no place to go.
At Busch Memorial Stadium in St. Louis, Missouri, it's the New York Mets versus the St. Louis Cardinals. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Rheingold Beer and another in its continuing parade of major sports events. It's our way of saying thank you for making Rheingold New York's largest selling beer. We must be doing something right.
Today's game is also brought to you by WGY, your sports station for the Great Northeast. WGY brings you the full schedule of the Mets' regular season games live from major league parks throughout the country.
This is Lindsey Nelson with Ralph Kiner and Bob Murphy here at Busch Memorial Stadium in St. Louis, Missouri. It is the first appearance of the Mets here in this newest of baseball stadia. It was opened on May 12th after the Mets had made their first appearance of the year in St. Louis. And the National League will be the host to the All-Star game here at this stadium in July. Starting pitchers for tonight's game for the St. Louis Cardinals, right-hander Nelson Briles, and for the New York Mets, right-hander Dick Selma. We'll be back with the start of tonight's game in just one moment.
This is WGY News. This is the sound that means news. Up to the minute, concise, and complete. From the facilities of NBC, Associated Press, United Press International, the United States Weather Bureau, a staff of stringers throughout a 26-county area, and a newsroom staff of experienced news people, WGY keeps you informed of the latest happenings. More than 20 times a day in regularly scheduled newscasts from 6 in the morning to midnight, WGY brings you the latest news from around the world, around the area, and across the street. And when something newsworthy happens, you get it in bulletin form when it happens. All this, plus specialized programs on farm news, sports, weather, and business, make WGY's news department your best information center for what's going on in the world today.
Tonight's game is the first game of a three-game series here in St. Louis between the Mets and Cards. This broadcast comes to you through the courtesy of Rheingold Breweries Incorporated, the Brown & Williamson Tobacco Corporation, and the Sun Oil Company. Now for the lineups of tonight's game, here's Ralph Kiner.
For the New York Mets, the leadoff batter will be Ron Hunt, playing second base. Batting second and playing shortstop, Ed Basu. Batting third in right field, Al Luplow. In the cleanup position, Ken Boyer, playing third base. Batting fifth and playing center field, Cleon Jones. The sixth batter will be the first baseman, Ed Kranepool. Batting seventh and playing left field, Johnny Lewis. Batting eighth and doing the catching, Hawk Taylor. And the pitcher, Dick Selma, will be batting ninth. New York Mets have played a total of 60 ball games. They have won 24, lost 36. They are 13 and 1/2 games behind the league-leading San Francisco Giants, who lead Pittsburgh by a game and a half, and the Dodgers by 2. St. Louis Cardinals, who have won 31 and lost 31, they have just made the 500 mark for the first time in quite some time with a double victory on Sunday, will have as their leadoff batter Lou Brock in left field. Batting second and playing third base, Phil Gagliano. Batting third in center field, Kurt Flood. In the cleanup position at first base, the hitting star of the doubleheader, which the Cardinals won against the Philadelphia Phillies, Tito Francona. Batting fifth and catching, Tim McCarver. The sixth batter will be the right fielder, Mike Shannon. Batting seventh and playing second base, Jerry Buchek. The eighth batter will be the shortstop, Dow Maxwell. And batting ninth and doing the pitching, Nelson Briles. Well, as Lindsay told you, this ballpark, a brand new park for the New York Mets. The first game was played here on May the 12th. It was against the Milwaukee Braves that had their own ballpark down in Atlanta now, moving down to play in their park. This park very similar to the Atlanta ballpark, with the exception that they have some movable seats, 33 600 on both the left and right field side that fill in the ball playing area, and the distances from the foul lines to the stands about the same as Shea Stadium. There's a lot of similarity between Shea Stadium and this new ballpark, with the exception they have a completely circular field with seats out in center field all the way around. Cardinals won their first game here. They played a 4-3 game against Atlanta and won it in 12 innings. On that day, they had the largest crowd ever to see the Cardinals play here in St. Louis, 46,048. It was back on May the 12th. Busch Memorial Stadium holds 49,275 people. The dimensions are 330 down the left field line, 414 and 1/2 in center field, 330 feet down the right field line. A very symmetrical ballpark. In the alley, 386 in left and right. The fence is 10 foot 6 inches high. And the overall ballpark has an outside diameter of 800 feet and covers an area of more than 12 acres, located right next to the Mississippi River. Looking out through the left field seats and beyond, the beautiful arch that is the gateway to the west that they have built here for this area, and it is quite an impressive structure. The umpires at home plate going over the grounds rules with Red Chaney and manager Wes Westrom. Doug Harvey will be behind home plate. At first base, Harry Windelstadt. At second base, Shag Crawford. And the umpire at third base will be Ed Vargo. Beautiful day for baseball, and the St. Louis Cardinals now taking the field. Talking to Ken Boyer about the infield, he said it was in fine shape, and this is unusual for a brand new ballpark. Grass is taking hold and has quite a bit of cover all the way around. So the conditions of the playing field are in perfect shape, considering the fact that this ballpark is so new that the paint hasn't even dried yet. Earlier, just before we came on the air, there was notice on the board that please excuse some of the temporary difficulties that we are having with the ballpark. We just haven't gotten around to getting it all done. All in all, the consensus is that this ballpark is certainly one of the best of the new ones, and it compares very favorably with Shea Stadium and Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles. Nelson Briles taking his warm-up pitches, a youngster, 20 years of age, right-hander from Santa Clara University. This is his third year of professional baseball, and he'll be going against the Mets. Wind is blowing out towards the left field area, but with the circular stands, it's doubtful if the wind will have much effect on any balls on the playing field area. In left field, they have a giant scoreboard which sends out messages in color. Also, another scoreboard in right field that does it in black and white. Right now, the ball game about to get underway, and here for the play-by-play, all ready to go in this brand new ballpark, Bob Murphy.
Ralph, thank you very much, and hi, everybody. Real St. Louis type summer night, isn't it, Ralph?
Yes, it is, but still pleasant enough with no humidity to make it a beautiful day, and pretty good debut for the Mets here in this new ballpark.
Beautiful night for the ball game, first of 3 nights. We'll be broadcasting all 3 games. And the Wednesday night game, we will be televising back to New York, which will give you an opportunity of seeing the new stadium. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem. Busch Memorial Stadium in St. Louis, Missouri. Wonderful beautiful Monday night crowd, a big crowd settling back into the very comfortable seats. On the mound for the St. Louis Cardinals, young Nelson Brown, 22-year-old right-hander out of Chico, California. Now setting the Redbirds defensively, Tito Francona will be at first. Jerry Buschek playing second. Al Maxwell at short. Phil Gagliano will be at third. In the outfield, Lou Brock is in left. Kurt Flood in center. Around in right field, Mike Shannon. Jim McCarver behind the plate, and Nelson Browse on the mound. Ron Hunt, batting at .280, back in his native city of St. Louis, will be leading off. Yogi Berra coaching at first, and Whitey Herzog on the lines at third. Eddie Brasseau moves out on deck. Now the first pitch of the night, curved by Browse is low, 1 ball and no strikes. 3 games here in St. Louis, then the weekend series in Chicago brings to an end the current road trip. The Mets are in Shea Stadium next Monday night for the Mayor's Trophy game against the Yankees. Now Browse sighting in, delivers. A ground ball hit to shortstop, handled by Val Maxwell. He whips it to Tito Francona, 1 down. 1 out, nobody on. That brings up shortstop Eddie Brasseau, batting at .234. Nelson Browse has no lifetime record against New York. He has relieved on a number of occasions against the Mets. And this year, Browse has won 1 and lost 5, but has pitched very well. He has been pitching in a lot of low-scoring ball games. It's been his fortune that the nights he pitched, the Cardinals did not provide him any runs to go with. Foul ball, look out, Ralph. Right back up over our broadcasting booth. No play. It is always a real thrill to see a brand new stadium. And the 60s certainly shall be known as the decade that brought the many new, beautiful stadiums to sports and to baseball all across America, including, without a doubt, one of the best of them all, Shea Stadium in Flushing. Now the pitch on the way. Inside the high to Brasseau. 1 ball, 1 strike. This has always been a marvelous sports city. St. Louis is now becoming one of the few major cities in the entire country that will have 4 Major League professional sports teams. The 1-1 delivery, low and outside, is 2 balls and a strike. The St. Louis Cardinals in the National Baseball League, the St. Louis Cardinals in the National Football League, the St. Louis Hawks in the NBA, and in the near future, St. Louis will be represented in the National Hockey League. 2 balls and a strike on Eddie Brasseau. The pitch by Browse, a grounder foul hit in behind Whitey Herzog. The infield grass and the outfield grass, as Ralph was pointing out, is amazingly good for the very short time that they have had to work with. A home run in this stadium is well earned, but the ball does carry, and we saw a number of shots hit over the wall during batting practice. It's deep in the alleys, 386 in left center and right center, 414 in straightaway center. Off the outside corner. Now 3-2 on Eddie Brasseau. 1 out, nobody on. The game just underway. Dick Selma will be on the mound tonight for New York. It will be the first ball game Dick has started since Memorial Day. He hurled 3 scoreless innings on Memorial Day and then was hurt when he was struck with a pitch just above the right elbow. So this will be the first ball game that Dick has started since then. Browse with a full count, 3-2 on Ed Brasseau. Now the payoff delivery. A line shot through the hole, a base hit to left field. Brock, the left fielder for St. Louis, plays the ball back into Al Maxwell. So Eddie Brasseau has the first hit of the ball game. He singles to left. And it brings up the right fielder, Al Luplow. Al batting at .241. All 3 games of this series will be night games here in the beautiful new stadium. And we will televise the Wednesday night game back to New York at 8:55 p.m. New York time. Now Tito Francona, who starred in yesterday's double win by the Cards, the first baseman, holds against Ed Brasseau. Pitch by Browse, low and inside, it's ball 1. The Phillies remained in St. Louis last night, and they flew out of here about 11 this morning. They are playing in Atlanta tonight.
talking about the strong pitching the Cardinals presented in the doubleheader yesterday. The Phillies, with a ball club that has good hitting, were held to 1 run and 5 hits in the doubleheader. Cardinals, by winning the doubleheader, are now playing 500 ball, the first time they've been at 500 since early April. 1 ball, no strikes on Al Luplow. Now Bryles in the set position. And the pitch on the way. Ground ball bounced on the right side, taken by Bluchick. He throws to Maxwell for 1 to first. Save at first base. Luplow reaching in time. Eddie Pursuit taken off the baseline. Bluchick, the second baseman, to Dal Maxwell. Cardinals just missing the double play, and it brings up Ken Boyer. Ken had a real good series against his old team, the Cardinals, when they were in Shea Stadium. Ken batting .291, 8 home runs, and 28 runs batted in. Fielder Cleon Jones waiting on deck. Cleon turned his ankle slightly in the first game of yesterday's doubleheader in Cincinnati. Now Bryles pitching off the stretch. Delivers. Breaking ball in the dirt. 1 ball and no strikes. The last time the Mets came to St. Louis, they played a 2-game series in the old ballpark. And they gained a split of the 2-game series when Jack Hamilton shut out St. Louis by pitching a 1-hitter. The only hit was a bunt single by Ray Sadecki. Now Tim McCarver crouched behind the plate, sets up the target. And the pitch on the way. Low and outside on Kenny. 2 balls and no strikes. Cardinals have the defense straight away against Boyer. Sign now from McCarver, the count 2-0 on Ken Boyer. Now the pitch to him. Curve outside and low, it's ball 3, 3-0. The stadium is a riverfront stadium. The Mississippi River is only about a block and a half away. And there may be times when on humid days you might need an insecticide bomb or something to keep those mosquitoes away. 3-0. Down comes the pitch. And it's in there for a call, strike 3-1. But nowadays, those are very minor problems that are very easily conquered by the spring. Visiting team in the new stadium occupies the third base dugout. The Cardinals have the first base dugout. Francona holding against the runner. The 3-1 pitch. A high hopper. Territory. Francona coming over in front of the Cardinal dugout is under it, and he has it beside his eye. That's retired in their half of the first. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 left. And the score in the middle of the first. The Mets nothing, and the Cardinals coming to bat. And now here's a word from Rheingold. Mets with Hawk Taylor behind the plate. The
Defensively, the Mets have Eddie Kranepool at first, Ron Hunt playing second, Eddie Brosseau at short, and Ken Boyer at third. In the outfield, Johnny Lewis is in left field, Leon Jones in center, and Al Luplow is playing right. The left fielder, Lou Brock, will be leading off against Dick Selma. Brock batting .256. One of the game's top base stealers. This year, he has stolen 23 in 26 attempts. Bill Gagliano on deck, and then Kurt Flood. The beautiful Stadium Club restaurant in the new stadium here in St. Louis is out behind left field on the press level. Here's the pitch on the way. A foul ball hit back upstairs and out of play. And so many of the fans are able to come out and have a very luxurious meal and watch the start of the ball game at the same time. And then when they finish their meal, come on out and get their seats. Here's the pitch to Brock. Inside and low. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ken Boyer in close at third against the speed of Lou Brock. For the Cardinals, Dick Sisler coaching at first. And Joe Schultz on the lines at third. Now Selma's 1-1 delivery. Inside and low, 2 balls and a strike. Dick's control has not been good since he returned from the injury. He was hit above the right elbow on Memorial Day, and since then, in 5 relief appearances, he has not had the same control he had before he was hurt. And Wes Wester was hoping that the starting assignment can help to straighten things out for him. Windup by Selma. Here's his pitch on the way. Inside, it's ball 3, 3-1. Fastball way inside. The Mets had hoped that Dick Rustek could pitch in tonight's ball game, but Rustek's shoulder is still bothering him. A young pitcher with a world of talent, you certainly wouldn't take any chances on hurting a valuable arm such as his by pitching him too soon. Now the 3-1 pitch. It's under the knees, ball 4, and Brock reaches on a walk. The third baseman coming up. He has been hitting the ball hard for the Cardinals. Gagliano is hitting .282. He took over at third when Charlie Smith suffered a broken finger on the Cardinals' last road trip down in Atlanta. Now Selma up in the set position. There goes Brock. Here's the pitch. The peg to second by the Hawk. A high throw up Sullivan. Number 24 for Lou Brock. He has swiped 24 in 27 attempts. He didn't waste a moment. He got the first on the walk and took right off. One ball, no strikes on Phil Gagliano. Now Dick Selma checking with Hawk Taylor for his sign. Here's the pitch on the way. Curve, a good one, and it's over on the outside corner. 1 ball and 1 strike. The infield and the outfield straight away against Gagliano. Now the pitch on the way. A breaking ball, a slow grounder, charging hard to Kenny Boyer. He's up with it. Through. Out in time. Infield hit Gagliano. Brock moving over to third. Dick Selma unable to reach the ball coming off the mound. Boyer the edge of the carpet. By the time he came up with it, it was midway between second and third, and his throw was not in time for Gagliano. A base hit, and the Cardinals have runners at first and third, nobody out. The batter is their leading hitter, Kurt Flood, batting at .313. Curve outside and lowest, ball 1. The bullpens at Busch Memorial Stadium are located behind the walls. Very similar to the bullpens at Shea Stadium. Visiting bullpen behind the right field wall, the home bullpen behind the left field wall. Pitch to Flood, a fastball low, 2 balls and no strikes. Under Dick Selma, the hard-throwing young right-hander from Fresno, California. Dick just his 4th game of the year. Cranepool holds against Gagliano. Brock is on third. A line shot hit up the alley in left center by Flood for a base hit. In to score is Lou Brock. Racing on to third is Gagliano. Cut off the plate at second, and he is out at second base. We're going to get an argument here. The Cardinals are arguing that Hunt dropped the ball. And he did drop the ball. That is safe at second. Second base umpire, Shag Crawford, was blocked off on the play, and so when Shandies came racing out, and third base coach Joe Schultz came racing out, Shag Crawford said, all right, I'll check with my fellow comrade. So he checked with Ed Vargo, the third base umpire, and Vargo said, yes, the ball was dropped. And Flood is safe at second base. The play was going to third base for Gagliano, but it was cut off by Brassu, who rifled the ball to Hunt. It'll be an error charged to Ron Hunt because the throw was there in time to nail Flood. Now the Cardinals have runners on second and third. Nobody out. A run is in. The batter is Tito Francona. If Flood is single and a run batted in, he takes second on the error charged to Ron Hunt. Francona the batter, and the Blazer is in. Strike one call. So trouble has bubbled up early here on the bottom half of the first inning of the ball game. Francona was the hitting star for the Cardinals yesterday. He won the first game with a home run, 1-0. Foul ball back, no play. He also homered in the second game and had a double. Veteran Tito Francona is hitting .289. He did not have a home run this year until yesterday, and he picked an ideal time for it with about 45,000 in the stadium and the Phillies in town. Bill Hepler is now warming up in the Mets bullpen. That run batted in for Curt Flood is his 40th of the year. Runners on second and third. Now the two-strike delivery. He lays off. It was just a little bit high. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Tim McCarver is the on-deck batter. Then Mike Shannon, the right fielder. Gagliano on third. Flood is on second. Now the windup by Selma. Here's the pitch. Fastball high, and the count is even. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Brock led off with a walk. He stole second. Gagliano beat out an infield hit. Brock went to third. Flood singled to left center, scoring Brock. Gagliano took third, and Flood reached safely at second when the ball was dropped at second. Ground ball hit down to first base. A fair ball taken by Cranepool. He makes the play at first, and they hold the runners at second and third. So Dick Selma gets Francona out with the runners holding, and that brings up Tim McCarver. McCarver is hitting .273, 25 runs batted in. St. Louis in front, 1-0, last half of the first. Tomorrow night, Bob Shaw will be on the mound for the Mets, and then Wednesday night, Jack Fisher. Tracy Stallard pitching for the Cardinals tomorrow night in the second game of the series. Now the pitch underway. A high fly ball to center field. Gagliano's tagged at third. Jones is getting under it, fairly deep. Makes the catch. Leon Sproul will be the third to hold Flood at second base. In the score comes Gagliano, and the Cardinals lead 2-0. For Tim McCarver, his 26th RBI of the year. On second, 2 men away, and the hitter now is Mike Shannon. Shannon batting .243. Tall, rangy right-hand batter. Now Selma pitching from the stretch. Curve hit on the ground toward the hole. Off the glove of Eddie Brassu. It goes into left field. Rounding third and coming in to score is Flood. And the Cardinals lead 3-0. That'll be a base hit for Shannon. A ground shot into the hole. tried to go across the body and make the backhand play. The ball hit his glove and caromed into left. Then he had trouble locating it. I don't think it would have made a bit of difference the way Flood could fly. He was on his way home. Now the hitter is Jerry Busch, and the Cardinals have a 3-run first inning. Busch is hitting .242. He's a right-hand batter. Selma checks his runner. A swing and a miss on a letter high fastball, strike one. Cardinals moving into their beautiful new home on the riverfront will probably draw about 1.5 million this year. Next pitch on the way. Inside, Hawk had to move into the hitter to handle it. 1 ball, 1 strike. The shortstop is the on-deck batter. Buschek is the 7th man up in the inning. Now Selma steps off. Eddie Cranepool holding against base runner Mike Shannon. A check swing, slow roller, headed toward the hole, run down by Hunt to play to first. He is out at first base. Cranepool got back to the bag, and Hunt ran it down in the hole on the right side of the infield. Retired. Good play by Ron Hunt. He really had to scamper. The ball was not hit hard. It was off of a check swing, but it had quite a location. 3 runs. There were 3 hits. 1 error and 1 left on. At the end of 1 inning, it's the St. Louis Cardinals 3 and the New York Mets nothing. Next Monday night, the Mets will be back at Shea Stadium playing the big benefit game against the Yankees, the annual Mayor's Trophy game. After that round, the Phillies and the Pirates, 2 tough customers of the National League, are coming in.
They certainly are. The Phillies are making quite a run of it, along with the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Pirates trail by a 1.5 games behind the Giants, and the Phillies are in 4th place. They trail by 5. They'll be in, the Phillies, on the 28th for a night game, the 29th for a day game, and the 30th for a night game. And a weekend with Pittsburgh, 4 games with a Ladies' Day set up for Saturday afternoon and a doubleheader for Sunday. You can get tickets for all home games of the Mets at a wide variety of locations. Shea Stadium open 7 days a week. Grand Central Station open 6 days a week. Weekdays from 8 to 6 and Saturdays from 8:30 to 4. Also tickets now available at Macy's at 34th Street and 7th Avenue on the main floor, and also Macy's and the Walt Whitman Shopping Center in Huntington, Long Island. They're open during the regular store hours. In addition, reservations for box and reserved seats may be made at all Howard Phone stores during regular store hours, and also at any branch of the Manufacturers Hanover Trust Company during banking hours. So why don't you come out and join us when the Mets come on home, starting with Monday against the New York Yankees, and then Philadelphia and Pittsburgh the rest of the week. Right now, the top of the 2nd, the Mets up, and here's Bob Murphy.
Leon Jones leading off against Nelson Briles. Briles starting Leon off with a curveball that breaks over knee high, strike 1. Leon batting .283 with 19 runs batted in. Only 1 of the 3 scored by the Cardinals in the first inning will be cataloged as an earned run. Now Briles winding. Here's the pitch to Cleon. A foul ball. Right straight back, no play. Beautiful night here in St. Louis. Really an impressive sight when you're sitting in the area up around home plate. Well, as a matter of fact, you can see it anywhere from the stadium. The tremendous archway. No telling how many feet it extends above the top of the stadium. And it is quite a sight. Briles into his windup. Down comes the pitch. Breaking ball taken low. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Cleon Jones. Eddie Cranepool on deck, and then Johnny Lewis. That's we're a little worried about whether Cleon can play here tonight after he turned that ankle slightly in the first game yesterday in Cincinnati. He was limping as he got on the bus. So look out, right over his head, and all the way to the backstop, 2-2. Count even now, 2-2 on Cleon Jones. Center fielder Kurt Flood is playing Cleon over toward the alley in right center. The infield playing straight away. Flood is one of the real great ball hogs in baseball today. He covers a tremendous amount of ground in center field for the Cardinals. 2-2 delivery. Ground ball hit hard, a base hit going right down the right field line. Cleon around first will stop there as Shannon reaches the ball in a hurry, and he's got a howitzer for an arm. So Cleon is on with a base hit to the opposite field. He hit a shot right down the right field line. Right here we pause for station identification. This is the New York Mets Baseball Network.
This is the voice of the Mets in the great Northeast, WGY Schenectady, a General Electric station, the smoothest sound around. The time, 29 until 10.
Bob Murphy with Lindsey Nelson and Ralph Kiner from Busch Memorial Stadium in St. Louis. Cardinals lead 3-0. Mets hitting top half of the second. Leon Jones on first and nobody out. Now Eddie Cranepool is sitting against Nelson Briles. He looks at a curve and it bends inside. 1 ball and no strikes. Eddie got a hold of one in that second game yesterday afternoon for his 6th home run of the year. Now Francona is holding against Cleon. Outside and low, 2 balls and no strikes on Eddie Cranepool. Have had a busy baseball schedule. They had 5 games in 3 days at the tail end of their homestand. The final weekend they were home, and they have just come out of playing 5 games in 3 days in Cincinnati. And things will get mighty busy around July 4th. Now the 2-0 delivery. It is a little bit high. 3 balls and no strikes. Open their homestand at Shea a week from tomorrow night. They have a 3-game series with the Phillies and then a weekend series with the Pirates. And the Sunday with the Pirates, July 3rd, will be a big doubleheader. 3-0 pitch. In for a strike, 3-1. And on July 4th, the Mets will play a doubleheader in Philadelphia. So they have back-to-back doubleheaders July 3rd and 4th. They also have back-to-back doubleheaders at Shea Stadium on July 17th and 18th. Mets have now played 9 doubleheaders this year. The Cardinals have played just 2. 3-1 pitch. A swing and a miss, and a full count on Cranepool. 3-2. Breeze blowing in this evening. Not really a very strong breeze. Johnny Lewis waiting to hit next. Nelson Briles is the young right-hander with a lot of talent the Cardinals think is going to develop into a real good pitcher. And facially, he bears a very strong resemblance to Robin Roberts. 3-2. And the pitch on the way. Low, it's ball 4. The Mets have 2 men on. Nobody out. Cranepool walking on 3-2. That moves Cleon over to second and brings up Johnny Lewis. Johnny hitting .213. Now Tim McCarver going out to talk to Nelson Briles. Is even more convenient for the Mets in traveling from their hotel where they stayed to the stadium than the old ballpark was. The old ballpark wasn't far, but it's less than a 10-minute cab ride or bus ride from the hotel to the stadium. Briles up in pitching position. Delivers to Johnny Lewis. A line drive, base hit into right field. Rounding third is Leon Jones. He's hit again and will score. Racing on to third goes Eddie Cranepool. Francona made a head-first dive toward the hole and just barely got his glove on it, and it helped out because it slowed the ball up. And the ball just trickled very slowly into right field. By the time Shannon could gallop in and scoop it up, Leon had scampered home from second. Cranepool had gone run from first to third. Now it's a 3-1 ball game, and the Mets have the tying runs on, nobody out. RBI for Johnny Lewis. His 18th run batted into the year. The hitter is Hawk Taylor. Hawk, a right-hand batter. Cardinals have their infield a straightaway, a double play depth in the outfield straightaway. Now Browse off the stretch. Here's the pitch. Curve is in the dirt, blocked by Tim McCarver. Now the sign has gone to the Cardinal bullpen, and veteran right-hander Art Mahaffey will start warming up. Red Schoendienst is sending his pitching coach, Joe Becker, out to the mound to talk to Nelson Browse. Ralph, oftentimes, I guess, when you see the pitching coach go out to the mound, it means he has detected something about the pitcher. Maybe his arm is coming down or something that he feels he's not doing that is following his normal style.
Well, the trend nowadays is to have the pitching coach as a direct contact with the pitchers, and they usually have more to do with pitchers than the manager does. It's more or less departmentalized, which is something that was not in the past when the manager ran all departments and really had just his friends for coaches. Joe Becker was with the Dodgers and moved over here with the St. Louis Cardinals, and he probably knows a lot about Nelson Browse, and right now he seems to be discussing the fact that his pitching motion is not the way he would like to have it. I'm sure Browse would agree because he is now in trouble for the first time in the ball game. He's a young fellow, only 20 years of age, and he'll listen, I'm sure.
No strikes on Hawk Taylor, and now Joe Becker is coming back to the Redbird dugout. Art Mahaffey is warming in the bullpen. The Mets have a run in, runners at the corners, nobody out. Dick Soma out on deck, loosening up his shoulder muscles. Now Browse looks into McCarver to pick up his sign. Here's the pitch on the way. It's up high, and Hawk lays off. 2 balls and no strikes. Other action in the major leagues on this Monday night. The Phillies and the Braves play in Atlanta. Chris Short against Tony Cloninger, and Philadelphia got a run off Cloninger in the first inning. The Dodgers are in the Astrodome in Houston. Don Drysdale against Robin Roberts. The 2-0 pitch. A high fly ball into short center field. Probably not deep enough to score a run. Getting under it is Flood. He makes the catch, and the runners will hold. Towering fly ball. By the time Flood came in and camped under it, he was almost behind second. He was just barely on the outfield grass. Maybe by about 10 or 12 yards. Now runners on first and third, 1 out, and Dick Soma coming up. There will be 3 games in the American League tonight. Washington 3, Cleveland 1 at the end of 5. John O'Donohue against Pete Rickard. Rickard trying for his 8th win. Bill Hodges has the Senators a battling ball club. They had to fight out of a losing streak, but they've been playing much better ball this year. White Sox 1, Kansas City 0 after an inning and a half. Joe Horlin against Bill Stafford. Minnesota a night game on the West Coast at Anaheim against the California Angels. Now Salmo stepping in, hoping to weigh in on his own behalf. They'll be watching for anything here. And the fastball is over, strike 1.
Interesting that Selma is batting right-handed against the right-hander Nelson Browse. Selma has been a switch hitter. When he got hit on the elbow, his right elbow, batting left-handed against Bob Buell, he said at that time that he would never hit from the left-hand side again, where his pitching arm would be exposed to the pitcher. And so far, he's going through with it. He's batting from the right-hand side here.
Didn't Sandy Koufax get hit a few years ago when he turned around? Not seriously, but I think it changed his mind for him, too.
A lot of pitchers do that. They want to protect that pitching arm.
Fastball a little bit high. 1 ball, 1 strike on Dick Soma. Well, that's the bread and butter. Johnny Lewis on first. Eddie Kranepool on third. 1 man out. 1 run is in. St. Louis 3, New York 1. We're in the top half of the second inning. Leadoff batter Ron Hunt is waiting on deck. Now Browse
In the set position, fires. Fastball over the outside corner. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, so far, not trying to finesse Selma, just reaching back for that extra leverage and throwing hard. Each team has 3 hits in the game. St. Louis scored 3 in the first. The Mets have a run back here in the second. Pitching 1 and 2. A ground ball hits foul in behind Yogi Berra and on down toward the tarp. Three-night games in St. Louis. 4 games in Chicago. The trip will be over with the Sunday doubleheader. We'll be broadcasting every game remaining on the trip, play-by-play, night and day, home and away. And we will televise the Wednesday night game from St. Louis and the doubleheader Sunday from Chicago. Browse is set. The 1-2 pitch. A fly ball hit to right field. It's fairly deep. Cranepool is tagging up. Shannon under it. He has a great arm. Makes the catch. Here comes Cranepool. There'll be no play for him. He's in to score. And it's 3-2. And Selma helps himself out by hitting a fly ball deep enough to right field to easily score Eddie Cranepool. Who has a great arm, figured he was just too deep to try and get anybody at home. So he wasn't going to let Johnny Lewis go over into scoring position. Selma getting his first run batted in. Ron up for the second time. He bounced out to short, leading off in the ball game. Browse pitching very deliberately. He has struggled here on the second. Now the pitch. Fastball under the knees. 1 ball and no strikes. This is a busy time of the year for the Major League Ball clubs as they spend many hours and travel many miles in signing the sought-after prospects in the country. Johnny Lewis is on first base. There are 2 men away. Mets getting right back in it, have 2 runs in. Mets have signed an 18-year-old left-hand pitcher named Don Lenahan from Lorton, Virginia. He was their 3rd choice in the free agent draft. And a right-hander, just 18 years old, Rich Dost from Vienna, Virginia. Now throw to first, not in time. And a 20-year-old third baseman from Orange, California, named Niall Leslie, who played at the University of Arizona. And his team played in the College World Series at Omaha. Pitch by Browse, and Ron tried to hold up. And the plate umpire, Doug Harvey, said he went through on the swing. And so Ron's going to argue this one a little bit. Count is 1 ball and 1 strike, and Ron really didn't like that call by Harvey at all. All of the free agent signings will be reporting to the Rookie League team at Marion, Virginia. By the way, on Dick Stewart have now expired, and Dick is free to try to make a deal for himself. He's now a free agent. 1 ball, 1 strike on Ron Hunt. Browse working so deliberately, Ron decides to try and bother him a little bit, and so he steps out. Gets up in pitching position, and Ralph, he just sits there. For a young man, he's in no hurry. Bother a hitter very much when a pitcher works that slow?
No, you do exactly what Ron Hunt is doing. You just step out. You don't like to be caught in there and held there for a long period of time because your muscles sort of tighten up and freeze up. So you step out of the box.
1 ball, 1 strike. Now the pitch on the way. A foul pop-up. Back towards the crowd. Francona will not have a play. It lands the field box area.
I remember a time, Bob, when we were playing against the Dodgers, and Hugh Casey was on the mound, and he was taking a lot of time in pitching to Hank Greenberg. Hank playing for the Pirates. Have was his last year in professional baseball. So Casey went over to the dugout and got a drink of water and sat down, wiped off his face. So when he came back to the mound, Hank went to the dugout and did the same thing.
You could be out there for a while doing things like that, couldn't you?
Well, two can play the game.
Well, that battle between the pitcher and the hitter, that striking each other is a big part of it, no doubt about it. The 1-2 delivery. The runner goes, and a grounder goes foul down the third base line. 1 ball and 2 strikes. 2 runs are in. It's the Cardinals 3 and the Mets 2. We're at the top half of the second. The Mets paying their first visit to the new stadium in St. Louis. And I'm sure everyone is going to go away from here tonight saying it is a magnificent new sports stadium. It's beautiful. Now Browse goes the pitching slab. The 1-2 delivery. A drive hit toward the alley in right center. Shannon galloping over is getting under it, and he makes the catch. Shannon moving over into right center to get the ball for the third out. For New York, 2 runs. There were 2 hits. No errors, 1 left on. At the end of an inning and a half, the St. Louis Cardinals 3 and the New York Mets 2.
Hi, this is Jerry Ducey. Let's take a look at a typical morning at your house. Dad has just left for work. And the lady of the house is just about to settle down the youngest member of the tribe. There, he's all settled down now. Now you've just made very short work of all the breakfast dishes. Now you're all set to relax with music on the Jerry Ducey Show. I'm here every day at 8:10 on the dial from 10:15 to 11:30. I wish you'd listen in. It'll help keep a young fellow off the streets. That's me.
Now the last of the second here in St. Louis. Cardinals 3 and the Mets 2, and Dow Maxwell is up against Dick Selma. Our broadcasting colleague is going to come in for a little attention in the stadium here this evening. Fastball under the knees, ball 1. One of the many features of all the new stadiums around the country has been all of the information that can be disseminated on the message board on these fabulous new scoreboards. Baseball quizzes have certainly turned out to be very popular as well as informative. Ground ball bounced to short. Snagged by Berthu. The hurried throw is in time. A low throw, but Cranesville scoops it out. Fans get a big kick out of the baseball quizzes flashed on the message board at Shea Stadium. And the quiz here in St. Louis tonight, just posted a few moments ago, asked of the fans here in St. Louis who holds the distinction of having led the National League in home runs for 7 consecutive years. Now, Ralph, if you can guess the answer to that, Lindsey Nelson is going to buy your dinner tomorrow night.
Whereabouts?
Ralph
I'm not going to answer until I find out.
The press room. Nelson Bryles coming up. Elbow winds. Here's the pitch on the way, and the fastball is over. Strike 1. Well, Willie Mays made a run on some of Ralph Kiner's records last year, but boy, that's one record I think is going to be there for a long time to come. Ralph led or tied for the lead in home runs for the National League for 7 straight years. Fastball over. Now a 2-strike count on Nelson Bryles. Reminds you somewhat of Shea Stadium. Outside and low. Seating capacity of 49,000, whereas Shea is 55,300. They have the movable field box seats that move out for football. They're on what just like a regular railroad track. 7,200 of the seats are movable here, some 10,000 at shade. Outside and low, 2 balls and 2 strikes. And the natives who are so proud of their stadium, and so rightfully so, many of them that we talked to today said, we feel that this stadium is just as pretty as Shea Stadium, which is a tribute to the Shea Stadium, which is such a beauty. A swing and a miss by Bryle, strike 3. Dick Selma posting his first strikeout. He took Bryles out with a fastball down the middle. 2 outs and nobody on. Top of the batting order for Lou Brock. He reached on a walk in the first. He promptly stole second, his 24th stolen base. Moved to third on an infield hit and came in on Kurt Flood's base hit. By Brock, strike 1. Gagliano, the on-deck batter. Ken Boyer shortened up at third against the speedy left-hand hitter. Now the windup by Selma. Here's his pitch. Laser, but it's inside and low. 1 ball, 1 strike. Bob Gibson won his 10th game of the year for the Cardinals yesterday afternoon. He now has struck out 135 men in 136 innings. Foul ball back upstairs. Talking to Roger Craig in the hotel today before the Phillies left for Atlanta. Roger said he never pitched off of a mound that he liked any better than the mound in this new ballpark. And he said it was certainly a natural for a flamethrower like Bob Gibson. So it might be the right cup of tea, too, for a fellow like Dick Selma, who certainly throws as hard as anybody. As the pitchers say, each pitching mound has its own personality. You have to get the feel of each one. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Brock. The pitch by Selma. The curve is laced on a line in the right center for a base hit. Running it all the way back to the wall is Al Lucro. Brock is flying. He's around second, heading for third. He's going to make it. The throw gets away. It's backed up by Selma. And Brock is held at third base. Selma doing a good job. Came right into the runner, beyond the reach of Ken Boyer, and went over against the field box framing. But Dick Selma was Johnny on the spot, and that saved a run. For Lou Brock, a triple to right center field. With his speed, Ralph, and with the dimensions of this ballpark, he may get some inside the park home run.
Well, there's a good chance he could. They fielded that ball very quickly, and he's still at third base all the way.
Gagliano is the batter, 2 men down. Let's have the infield back. He had an infield hit his first time up. He holds up on a curve, ball 1. Now the windup by Selma. Pitch to Gagliano. Fastball. Inside, ball 2. It's 2-0. 3 runs, 4 hits, and no errors. New York, 2 runs, 3 hits, and 1 error. A lot of excitement, a lot of fireworks, and we're only in the bottom half of the second inning. Now Selma looks the runner back at third. The 2-0 delivery. Right in there for a strike, 2 balls and 1 strike. Gagliano batting at 290. Selma cranks up. The 2-1 pitch, a foul ball, right straight back over the screen, and the count is even. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Center fielder Kurt Flood, the number 3 Cardinal hitter in the batting order, is waiting on deck. Selma winds. The pitch thrown inside to high. And Gagliano really had trouble getting out of the way of that. Selma
Well, that time was reaching back, trying for that extra to strike out the hitter. It almost got completely away from him. And that brings Wes Westrom out of the dugout on the run. Wes was talking about that on the plane ride down to St. Louis last night, how sometimes someone would hurt himself when he got 2 strikes on a hitter and got in a position to strike a hitter out and bail himself out of a jam. He would reach back and try to get more than he was capable of getting, and as a result would probably lose about 20% off of his fastball. It wouldn't be quite as hard, and the control would be off. And so Wes, the minute he saw that pitch, came racing out of the dugout and went to the mound. I'm sure to tell Selma to stay with his normal rhythm. Now it's 3-2 on Gagliano. Here's the windup. Now the pitch. Fastball fouled off. That was a check swing. As the hitters would say, Selma was really throwing BBs with that. On third, 2 men down. 3-2 on right-handed batting Phil Gagliano. Here comes the payoff pitch. Curve is over, strike 3 call. He broke it off beautifully and got the outside corner, much to the dismay of Gagliano, who had started toward first base. So the side is out. A good pitch on 3-2 by Dick Selma. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 left on. At the end of 2 innings to score, the St. Louis Cardinals 3 and the New York Mets 2. Ralph, next Monday night at Shea Stadium, all the fun and the excitement of the Mets and the Yankees in the Mayor's Trophy game. Now they're just posting the answer to the baseball quiz, Ralph, up on the message board. The answer was Ralph Kiner, as we all knew from the beginning, and you got a nice hand. Makes you feel good, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's the first hand I've had in this ballpark. Well, getting back to the Mayor's Trophy game on Monday, June 27th, it will not be on TV, radio only, and the game, you know, has raised somewhere around $315,000 for Sandlot baseball so far. The Mets lead in the series 2-1 in the games they have played so far. And if you take in all the games played between the Mets and the Yankees, it's 6-6. 12 games played, the Mets have won 6, the Yankees have won 6. Last year, the Mets won 2-1 in Yankee Stadium on a bunt single by Cleon Jones. And Cleon will be back this year to be playing against the Yankees. New York City baseball grads include Whitey Ford, Pepitone, Ed Kranepool, Larry Bernard. So a great cause, and mark it down in your calendar. The Mets coming back next Monday, June 27th, 8 o'clock at night, a night game, the Mayor's Trophy game. A great cause, remember, it will not be on TV. Right now, we're going to the top of the third. A 3-2 ball game in favor of the Cardinals. The Mets are up, and here for the play-by-play, Lindsey Nelson.
Thank you very much, Ralph, and hello, everybody. Ed Pursuit, right-hand batter, in and waiting now as Nelson Briles, right-hand pitcher, starts to work, and the first pitch is in there for a called strike. It's a pretty good hand you got here at the new ballpark.
Yeah, I'm not so old. These people remember.
I was going to ask you about that. Said on the message board, Babe Ruth. We'll get to that in just a second. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball hit on the ground, foul back at third. Said Babe Ruth held the crown for 6 straight years, but the all-time record was held by Ralph Kiner with 7. You're in pretty good company right there.
Man, that's fast company. You know, Lindsey, these fans here in St. Louis have always been great baseball fans. It was always a pleasure to play here because they were very fair. They gave you what you got, and it was really pleasurable. And they certainly have come out here in this new ballpark, and I'm sure that Stan Musial will attest to that. He really enjoyed playing here.
Here's a swing and a miss. And Ed Pursuit is a strikeout victim. That is the first strikeout tonight for Nelson Briles. And it brings up Al Luplo, who's been up one time and hit into a fourth place. Well, if yesterday is any indication, this new ballpark is going to be the start of a brand new era for baseball in St. Louis, which has been a great baseball town through the years because for the doubleheader yesterday, they had 44,940 paid here. Tremendous baseball crowd. Here is pitch low for a ball. The all-time record for a doubleheader in St. Louis was set back on July 12, 1931, when 45,770 saw the Cardinals play the Chicago Cubs. pitch to Luplo, and it's swung on it underground to the right side. Racing over is second baseman Busch. He makes the play on to Francona, and there are two men out. That'll bring up Ken Boyer. But first we pause for station identification. This is the New York Mets Baseball Network.
This is the voice of the Mets in the great Northeast, WGY Schenectady, the smoothest sound around. The time, 1 minute past 10.
This is Lindsey Nelson with Ralph Kiner and Bob Murphy here at Busch Memorial Stadium in St. Louis, and it's Ken Boyer up. He's been up one time and fouled out to first base. Nelson Browse getting a shot to Tim McCarver. Pitch is low and away. When the Cardinals opened up this ballpark against the Braves on the 12th of May, they drew 46,048. That, of course, is the largest crowd ever to see a baseball game in St. Louis. So they are well on the way to new attendance records here in St. Louis. Here's a 1-0 pitch, and it's swung on and fouled out to the left side and out of play. It's 1-1. Park, which was Portsmouth Park before it was Busch Stadium. The single game record was set by the Cardinals against the New York Giants on September 15th, 1935. 41,284. Now the pitch to Boyer, and it's low and away for a ball. 2-1. Cardinals are leading here by a score of 3-2. In the top half of the third inning. Now breaking ball hit on the ground is short. Dal Maxwell up with it. Sidearms across to Francona in time, and the side is out in order. No runs, no hits, none left. And the score at the end of 2.5 innings is Cardinals 3 and the Mets 2. Do you ever stop to think of how many lonesome travelers there are here in yonder and how thirsty they get? I am a lonely and a lonesome traveler. I am a lonely and a lonesome traveler. I am a lonely and a lonesome traveler. I've been traveling on. I travel here and then
From California to New York, the American folk singer travels here and yonder, carrying with him the music of the whole world and its people. And sometimes when the traveling gets thirsty, he puts down his guitar and accompanies himself with a cold beer, maybe Rheingold. And in New York City, where more songs and travelers stop than anywhere else in the world, more people buy Rheingold Extra Dry than any other beer. How come? Maybe it's the Oregon hops we use. Who knows? But we must be doing something right. Will be coming up to lead off for the Cardinals. In the National League at the end of 2 innings, the Philadelphia Phillies won, the Atlanta Braves won. Very short against Tony Cronigers. Story hit a home run in the second with nobody on, his 15th this season. At the end of 2 innings, the Dodgers won and the Houston Astros won. Don Drysdale against Robin Roberts. The American League at the end of 7.5 innings, the Washington Senators 4 and the Cleveland Indians 2. O'Donohue started the Cleveland Radisson in the 8th. The pitch now to Flood is in there for a called strike. Pete Rickard is pitching for Washington tonight. Rocky Colavito and Doug Camilli have had home runs. American League at the end of 4 innings, the Chicago White Sox won. The Kansas City A's nothing. Joel Horland against Bill Stafford. Minnesota at California in a later start. Here's a drive to deep center field, but getting back underneath is Cleon Jones, and he's there and he makes the catch. Well, that's about 400 feet away from home plate. That'll bring up Tito Francona. He's been up one time and he grounded out to first base unassisted. Starting July 1st, New York's going to have the world's biggest musical festival right in its own backyard. It's the Rheingold Central Park Music Festival with Lionel Hampton, the Beau Brummels, Theodore Bikel, the Mitchell Trio, Miriam Makeba, Jimmy Smith, Freddie and the Dreamers, and lots more. Admission's only $1. Watch your paper for the complete summer schedule and ticket information, or you can phone 249-7750. 249-7750. The pitch now is in for a call strike to Francona. Cardinals 3 and the Mets 2 with the Cards batting in the bottom half of the third inning.
Selma's pitch. Fastball in there for a called strike. 2-strike count to the Cardinal first baseman, who has filled in admirably at that position during the absence of Orlando Cepeda. Still out with an injury. He was struck by a drive during batting practice, struck over the eye. Breaking ball swung it in the air to right field, and Al Luplo is coming over on the run near the line. He's there, and he caps and makes the catch. So there are 2 men out on outfield flies, and Tim McCarver is coming in. Went up one time and had fly ball to center to drive in a run. Sacrifice fly. This is essentially a 2-deck stadium. There is a thin press and club deck, but essentially just the lower deck and the upper deck. Now the pitch, and it's swung on, hit deep to center, way back. Leon Jones ranging back, and he's there, and he hauls that one down a good 400 feet from home plate. No runs, no hits, no errors, none left. Score at the end of 3 full innings. The Cardinals 3 and the Mets 2. Now here's the word Triangle.
Just jazz. However you enjoy your kicks and jazz, we feel certain that you'll get your fill on the weekly program Just Jazz, heard over WGY. The program is heard usually on Tuesdays from 8 to 11 in the evening. But during the Mets baseball season, the show is heard on other nights of the week. In any case, Just Jazz is heard one night each week. Suggestion: send your name and address to Just Jazz Schedule, care of WGY in Schenectady, New York. And by return mail, you'll have the listings of each of the Just Jazz programs throughout the summer. This is Randy English. Be advised, it's cool, it swings, it's for you, and it's Just Jazz, here at 810 on your radio dial. Over WGY in Schenectady.
We're going now to the top half of the 4th inning, and Cleon Jones will be up to lead off for the Mets. Cleon has been up one time, slammed a single into right field, and later scored the first Met run. Nelson Briles is on the mound tonight for the Cardinals. Single game here tomorrow night, and then a single game on Wednesday night will conclude the current set. We'll be broadcasting tomorrow night and Wednesday, of course, and we'll be televising as well on Wednesday night. Thursday is a travel day for the Mets as they move on to Chicago, and then they take on the Cubs Friday afternoon, Saturday afternoon, and the doubleheader on Sunday afternoon to conclude this homestand. Jones is a right-hand batter as Nelson Briles looks in for the sign from McCarver. He dips into the windup, and here's the pitch. Bunted, fouled on the first base line and out of play. Yogi Berra over to scoop it up. Fired back out to Nelson Briles. Yogi Berra, a native son of the city of St. Louis. Franz Locke, one of the original baseball broadcasters who worked here in St. Louis, was kidding Yogi on the field before the ball game, asking him how long it took on the phone to contact all his relatives when he came to St. Louis. Here's a pitch, and it's high for a ball, 1-1.
That's got to be one of those don't call me, I'll call you affairs.
Yeah, I'm afraid you're right. Cardinals are leading the Mets by 1 run, 3-2, with the Mets batting here in the top half of the 4th inning. 1-1 pitch. It's in the air to right center, and moving on is Mike Shannon to make the catch. And he is down, but hangs on to the moment right to his knees as he took the curving line drive over in right field. Mike Shannon hanging on to it, one away. That'll bring up Ed Kranepool, who's been up one time and drew a walk and later scored. Kranepool scored after the catch of a fly ball hit by Dick Selma to right field. Kranepool's batting average is .211. Swing on a foul ball out of play. This playing field uneven. The playing field is from 10 to 30 feet lower than the surrounding streets, depending on which one of the surrounding streets you're talking about. Now the pitch swung on and hit in the air to center field. Kurt Flood coming in, and he's there now, and he makes the catch. Playing this game in the outfield, 2 away. Johnny Lewis is coming up now. Up one time, lined the base hit to right field to score the first Met run. Actually, Tito Francona at first tried to flag it and got a glove on it just enough to blow it up. Johnny Lewis batting number 7 in the Met batting order tonight. Now the pitch. Outside for a ball. Charlie Smith, who had been the regular third baseman for the Cardinals, is still out with a broken finger. Manager Red Shane the same before the game that Smith will be out for a little while longer. Here's a pitch, and it is in there for a call strike, a breaking ball, 1-1. Says that it is 414 feet to the center field fence. Manager Shane Dean said he happened to be here the day they surveyed it, and he stood right with the surveyor and said, how far is it? He said 414.5, which is 414 and a half feet. The Shane Dean's exact measurement. Here is the pitch, high and tight. 2-2. 330 feet down the lines to the foul poles and 386 feet up the power alleys. 2-2 delivery. Swung on and missed. He tried to check it, and he's arguing the point of the call, but Johnny Lewis has been struck out. The side's out in order. No runs, no hits, no errors, none left. And the score at the end of 3.5 innings is Cardinals 3 and the Mets 2. Now we're...
Hello there, this is Leon Kelly. That familiar theme introduces Kelly's Corner, a weekday fair that begins at 6:15. Along with fine dinner music and rare stories of the odd, strange, and curious, we have special features. When it comes to racing, we have just about all the bases covered. It begins at 6:15 with Track Talk with Tuff, behind-the-scenes views of the trotters, pacers, and the thoroughbreds. Mondays and Thursdays at 7:05, Bill Carpenter covers the stock car racing results from 14 tracks. This is NBC News. At 7, a summary of the news from NBC.
This is Morgan Beatty bringing you NBC's News of the World.
Kelly's Corner keeps you further informed at 7:30 when Morgan Beatty reports the news with on-the-scenes accounts of events from where it happens. Yes, you'll find it interesting, informative, and entertaining in Kelly's Corner, weekdays 6:15 until 8 on WGY Schenectady.
Bottom half of the 4th inning, and the Cardinals will have Mike Shannon up to lead off to face right-hander Dick Selma, who will be doing the pitching. Selma started, has been in all the way. That's that hope that young Dick Rustek would be taking a turn tonight. However, he is still bothered with a little soreness in the pitching arm, and so it is Selma tonight, and Bob Shaw is ticketed to be on the mound for the Mets tomorrow night. Here is Shannon. He's been up one time. A base hit off the glove of Ed Pursuit at shortstop that drove in a run. Dick Selma started to pump and then stepped off the rubber, and Shannon now steps out of the batter's box. That is in for a called strike. Joe Schultz is a sign man at third for the Cardinals. Vic Sisler is on the lines at first. Now swinging a ground ball. That shortstop Pursuit is over. It throws on in time. And Shannon is out. Pursuit got rid of that in a hurry as he had to if he were to get the man, and he did. Now Jerry Busch, the second baseman, has been up one time and grounded out second to first. Ball players in a new ballpark or new surroundings are quick to try to pick up any characteristics of the surroundings. Sometimes they read the clues right, and sometimes they read them wrong. Here's a breaking ball that is in for a called strike. Red Cheney, the Cardinal manager, said it was their opinion that the ball carried very well down the lines here and very well up the power alley and left center. And that if there were a dead spot, it was in the power alley and right center. This is a curveball that hits in front of the plate. Bounce off the catcher's glove. 1-1 the count. Ballparks, of course, do have specific characteristics depending upon wind current, time of day, and that sort of thing. And if you don't believe that, drop into Candlestick Park some afternoon about 3 p.m. Now the 1-1 pitch, and it's high for a ball. Nobody on base for the Cards here in the bottom half of the fourth inning. Fastball low and away, misses everything. Comes right on back to the screen. 3-1 now. Cardinals are leading in the game by a score of 3-2. They're batting here in the bottom of the fourth. Dick Selma pumps and pitches, and it's swung on it right back through the middle, out to center field for a base hit. Picked up out there by Cleon Jones and played back. Buschek with a single through the box. Dal Maxwell coming up and up one time, grounded out short to first. Checking out at first is Dal Maxwell. He lined that one into right field. So quickly, the Cardinals have runners at first and second, and pitcher Nelson Briles coming up. Briles has been up one time, and he struck out. He's been up 18 times this year and had one hit. So on the basis of statistics, one would expect Red Shane needs to have the sacrifice on here. Let's see how he plays. Reading the sign of Coach Joe Schultz at third right now. Buschek at second, Maxwell at first. The Cardinals have a 1-run lead in the bottom half of the fourth inning. Lou Brock on deck. Crane Poole moves in on the edge of the grass for the Mets at first. Boyer ready to charge at third. Here's the pitch, and it's in there for a called strike. He was not in bunting position there. He took the pitch. Now he's reading a sign again from Joe Schultz at third. Selma steps off the rubber. Runners lead at first and second. The pitch swung on and missed. He took his full cut, and now the count to him is 2 strikes. Here. Selma reading the sign of catcher Hawk Taylor. Now runners lead. 2-strike pitch swung on. It's a chopper to the left side. Boyer waits for it to come down fast to first in time. Runners move up on the infield out as that was a high chopper, and Boyer had to wait for it to come down while Briles was speeding down to first. But unfortunately, he cannot speed that fast. Boyer fired it on time to get it. So runners are second and third, and Lou Brock coming up. A left-hand batter. In the American League, a final score. Washington Senators 4, the Cleveland Indians 2. Pete Rickard all the way to get the win. John O'Donohue started and took the loss. Colavito and Camilli had home runs in the ballgame. Rocky Colavito, Doug Camilli. Lou Brock has walked and tripled so far in this game. Cardinal fans are starting rhythmic applause. A good crowd here for a Monday night ballgame. A good crowd here for any night. Again, swinging the bat as he waits now. Selma takes a look at the runner at third. Delivers the pitch, and it is swung and hit on the ground. And it's taken by Ryan Hunt on the outfield grass. First in time, he's out. That ball was slammed hard by Lou Brock, but Hunt ranged over to his left on the rim of the outfield grass, came up with it with a one-hand stab, and threw on to Cranepool in time to retire the side. Cardinals get no runs. There were 2 hits, no errors, and 2 left in the score at the end of 4 innings is Cardinals 3 and the Mets 2, and here's Ralph Kiner.
I'd like to remind you one more time that the Mets have a special setup now where you fans can meet your favorite ball player through the Mets Fan Club. Information and a list of dates available are available to you by writing Mets Fan Club, Shea Stadium, Flushing, New York. Zip code number is 11368. You can pick up the same information at any regular Mets ticket outlet. Some of the future dates are June 28th, Jerry Grote when the Mets come back to play against the Philadelphia Phillies. June 30 also against the Phillies, a night game on Thursday night. That'll be Dick Selma night. Dick pitching here tonight, pitching a ball game with a score of 3-2 in favor of the Cardinals. July 1st, Johnny Stevenson. July 29th, Wes Westrom. And when you come to the fan club room, the Lady Met Club invites you to bring a used, not broken toy. It will be sent to a hospital or orphanage in the name of the player you are visiting. Well, it's the top of the 5th at a ball game that is being witnessed by a tremendous crowd here on Monday night. In this brand new ballpark here in St. Louis. Fine ballpark. And the ball players were very strong in their comments about the condition of the playing field and the overall beauty of the ballpark before the ball game. Right now, the ball game going on, and once again, here's Lindsey Nelson.
All right, Ralph, it's going to be Hawk Taylor up to lead off. He's been up one time and hit a fly ball to center. Short center field. It was not deep enough to score Crane Group third at the time. That's trailed by 1 run, and Nelson Browse is reading the sign of catcher and co-captain Tim McCarver. Pitch is outside and off the end of the glove of McCarver and all the way back. It's ball 1. The gateway arch is visible beyond the left field wall here at Busch Memorial Stadium. The new big landmark of the city of St. Louis. This pitch is low for a ball.
Well, Lindsey, after your journey to the top of the dome and the Astrodome and broadcasting from there, I imagine any day now you'll be taking the climb up to the top of the arch and broadcasting the game from there.
You know, funny thing, I got a letter from Jim Toomey, the public relations director of the Cardinals, when the park was open, saying, we think you can just see enough of the playing field from the top of the arch. Here's a swing and a ground ball to third. Taken there by Gagliano and played across now in time. Hawk Taylor has grounded on third to first. That'll bring up Dick Selma, who has been up one time and had a sacrifice fly to right field. Cardinals have 3 runs on 6 hits, and the Mets have 2 runs on 3 hits. Cardinals got 3 runs in the bottom of the first inning, and then the Mets would like to get 2 in the top of the second. Pitch is in there for a call strike, Selma.
You wonder about Dick Selma because he has been a switch hitter in the major leagues, and he quit batting from the left-hand side when he got hit in the right elbow, and now he's batting from the right-hand side against the right-hander, and he's done better this way than he did the other way. He drove in a run.
That's right. Passed the bunny's way on and missed it. He was trying to push that one up the first base line. 2 strikes now to Selma. one would presume that the right-hand stance is his natural one.
Probably some right-hand pitcher turned him over to that left-hand side. Would you believe a side armor?
Two-strike delivery. Breaking ball hit on the ground to short. Big hops up there to Maxfield, and he plays across the Francona in time. Two away. And that will bring up the leadoff man, Ron Hunt, who has grounded out and flied to right so far. Hunt will take a little time before coming up now to allow Dick Selman to get back into the dugout. Get a little breather before it's time for him to go to work again. Hunt is, of course, a native of the St. Louis area. Lives in Overland, Missouri. Here's a breaking ball, and it's in there for a called strike. 2 men out, nobody on base with the Mets batting in the top half of the 5th inning. Tomorrow night, Tracy Stallard working for the Cardinals against Bob Shaw of the Mets. Here's a breaking ball, low, 1-1. Nelson Browse pumps and pitches. This misses low and away. 2 balls and 1 strike. As Bob Murphy pointed out, this new stadium is located very near the banks of the Mississippi River in downtown St. Louis. 2-1 delivery, and it is in there for a called strike. The stadium is the main feature of the first phase of a $51 million improvement program in this downtown area. Browse getting a time from McCarver and a 2-2 pitch. Swung on and foul back out of play. Count holds at 2-2. Other features of the improvement program in this area besides the stadium are a multi-level parking structure which is now being constructed to accommodate 7,400 automobiles. Browse getting a time from McCarver and a 2-2 pitch. Swung on and foul back out of play. Count holds at 2-2. Other features of the improvement program in this area besides the stadium are a multi-level parking structure which is now being constructed to accommodate 7,400 automobiles. And a 400-room motel. Swinging a ground ball to the left side, deep in the hole. Maxfield comes up, throws on, but not in time. A base hit for Ron Hunt. Now Maxfield went deep in the hole, came up with the ball, but couldn't stop himself until he was 2 steps on the outfield grass. He set from there and threw on the first, but not in time to get him on who beat it out. Ed Pursuit is coming up. He's 1 for 2. Had a base hit in the first inning.
7,000 stationary cars isn't much. Get a lot more than that on the Long Island Expressway.
You're just about right about that. What do they call it? The world's longest parking lot. 2 men out. Ron Hunt, the runner at first. Now Browse for the pitch, and it's low for a ball. Moved out to the on-deck circle. The Mets came on into St. Louis after the completion of yesterday's doubleheader in Cincinnati. Saturday afternoon watching the playoffs between Bill Casper and Arnold Palmer for the National Open Championship. Won by Billy Casper with a 4-stroke margin over Palmer. Takes his lead at first. 2-0 pitch. Swung on it on the ground to short. Maxwell over. Up with it. Flips it to Busch for the 4th on Hunt. At second base. And the side is out. That's got no runs, 1 hit. Nor is 1 left. The score at the end of 4 1/2 innings is the Cardinals 3 and the Mets 2.
Radio? Why should I advertise on radio? There's nothing to look at, no pictures.
Listen, you can do things on radio you couldn't possibly do on TV.
That'll be the day.
All right, watch this. Okay, people, and now when I give you the cue, I want the 700-foot mountain of whipped cream to roll into Lake Michigan, which has been drained and filled with hot chocolate. Then the Royal Canadian Air Force will fly overhead towing a 10-ton maraschino cherry, which will be dropped into the whipped cream to the cheering of 25,000 extras. All right, cue the mountain. Try that on television?
Well...
You see, radio is a very special medium because it stretches the imagination.
Doesn't television stretch the imagination?
Up to 21 inches, yes.
We're going down to the bottom of the 5th. Before we do, we pause for station identification. This is the New York Mets Baseball Network.
Voice of the Mets in the Great Northeast, WGY Schenectady.
This is Lindsey Nelson with Ralph Kiner and Bob Murphy in St. Louis. Joe Gagliano is up. It's the first pitch in the air to right. Sending Luplow back. He drifts back and he's there and makes the catch. So there's 1 away for the Cardinals batting in the bottom half of the 5th inning. That'll bring up Kurt Flood, who's single left to drive in the run and slide out to center field. Kurt Flood, co-captain of the St. Louis Cardinals and a big favorite here. The All-Star game is going to be played here in this stadium on July 12th. Pitch to the right-hand batter. And it's bunted on and fouled off for strike 1. And there are new rules this year about the balloting for All-Stars. As an example, outfielders will not be balloted for by position of left field, center field, or right field. They will just be balloted for as outfielders, which has caused a problem in some years. Here's the pitch outside for ball. It's caused a problem with fellas like Kurt Flood up there right now because Willie Mays plays center field. Here's a swing of the foul ball. Back and out of play. He had trouble a lot of years because a fellow named Hank Aaron played right field as well. Now 1-2 pitch. Swung on and fouled up to the right side out of play.
Back in 1950, Bert Schotten got himself into quite a jam because in those days they voted by the fans that would send their vote in. And Bert Schotten didn't want to play the top 3 outfielders. He didn't want to play Hank Sauer in the ballgame. He was one of the top 3. And he tried to get that rule changed. And in Chicago, they didn't like that idea.
No, I can imagine they did. Here's a 1-2 pitch. Swung on and missed. Dick Selma threw it back. Kurt Flood took him out. Third strikeout for Selma, 2 away. And Tito Francona is the batter. Grounded out to first and flied out to right field. batting in the bottom half of the fifth inning. Again, pumps and pitches. Breaking ball. Swung on and missed. He had Francona over the top that time. Francona back in swinging that as he waits. The 1-1 delivery. Fastball low. 2-1. There's no doubt in the mind of anybody who has seen him work that Big Soma can throw the ball as hard as anybody around. The question is to put it all together. Control the breaking pitch, be able to mix it up, master the delivery necessary to becoming a complete pitcher. Here's a swing and a miss. The fastball again. 2-2. You may recall that it took a fellow named Sandy Koufax quite a few years before he could ever get it all together and become an effective pitcher. As a matter of fact, about 1961 was the first year that he really was effective. Now a 2-2 delivery. And it's low. So the count is out full now. It's 3-2 to Francona with 2 men out and nobody on base. Selmer takes his cap off to mop his brow. Payoff pitch to Francona. Swung on it, foul back and out of play. This stadium is a completely enclosed circle. There is no open in, open side, or open anything else. It extends all the way around. The upper deck, a complete circle all the way around. Talking to Yogi Berra before the ball game, and he was wondering if it would get hot in here on a hot day in the summertime. He said it did when he was growing up in St. Louis, only they didn't know then that it was that hot. There was no air conditioning to compare it with. Francona back in now. And a payoff pitch. Swung on, a little lever on front of the plate, and he's grabbed by Hawk Taylor, foul ball, says umpire Doug Harvey. Hawk Taylor thinks it was fair. What Taylor thinks is that the ball hit in fair territory and spun out over, and foul territory, but that he grabbed it in the air. But Doug Harvey says foul ball. It was a breaking pitch that Francona just hit right down to the dirt. He didn't move. He was still there in the batter's box. It would have been an easy out if the call had been fair ball. Now again, Selma works the payoff pitch. Swung out and missed. He struck out Francona. 4 strikeouts for Selma. 2 in this inning as he sets the side down in order. No runs, no hits, no errors, none left. Scores you into 5 full innings is the Cardinals 3 and the Mets 2. Well, we were talking about this summer's All-Star game a moment ago. At Shea Stadium in New York on Saturday night, July 30th, we're going to have a brief reenactment of the famous 1950 All-Star game. It'll be old-timers night at Shea Stadium. And as you might expect, it'll be one of the biggest nights of the season. In recent years, the All-Star gatherings, the old-timers gatherings have been big, big events. Acceptances are coming in daily. Dominic DiMaggio will be on hand, and so will Bobby Dorr, 2 of the great Boston Red Sox of other years. They will be joining the likes of Roy Campanella, Buell Blackwell, Hoot Evers, Allie Reynolds, Don Newcomb, Walt Dropo, Hank Sauer, Jim Constanti, Bob Royce, Larry Doby, Ray Scarborough. That's at Shea Stadium on Saturday night, July 30th. Casey Stengel will be on hand in uniform, managing the American League just as he did 16 years ago. manage the National League All-Star. He will have his Chicago Cubs in there for the regularly scheduled game of the night against the New York Mets. Tickets are now on sale at all Mets ticket outlets for Saturday, July 30th. We're going now to the top half of the sixth inning, and coming in here is Ralph Kiner.
Thank you, Lindsay, and hi to everyone. Al Lupro, the leadoff for the Mets. They trail by 1. Al is 0 for 2 against Nelson Riles, the starting pitcher for the St. Louis Cardinals. Riles has given up 2 runs, allowed 4 hits. He has struck out 2 and walked 1. Right-hand pitcher, 20 years of age. Lupro, a left-hand batter, in his first pitch. Curveball, it's too low, it's ball 1. Riles has thrown a lot of curveballs, and he's got a good overhand curve. It really breaks. Lupro batting .236, no home runs. 7 runs batted in. And the right-hander back with a fastball that's fouled over the top of the screen. 1 ball, 1 strike. It'll be Al Lupro, Ken Boyer, and Cleon Jones for the right-hander here in the top of the 6th. Cardinals got their 3 runs the first inning. First 3 men scored. Mets came back. They got their 2 runs in the top of the 2nd. 1 ball, 1 strike. Riles into the windup, and his pitch back to the plate. It's hit back toward second base. Moving to his right is Jerry Buschek. He's up with the ball, throws to first base for the out. 1 away in the top of the 6th. That brings up third baseman Ken Boyer. With the Mets at .288. He has 8 home runs and 28 runs batted in. Right-hand batter. Lou Brock, who always manages to play at deep left field, is way back there in left field. Kurt Flood, who does not always play at deep left center field, is deep in center. Mike Shannon about straight away and deep too. The first pitch by Riles is too low, and it's ball 1. The ball going right through the legs after hitting the glove of Tim McCarver. 1 ball, no strikes. Cardinals 3, the Mets 2, 1 out, top of the 6th. 1 ball count as Riles comes back again. And he misses again, this time outside, ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes. 1964 was the first year that Nelson Riles pitched in professional baseball. He played at Tulsa and won 11 and lost 6. Last year, he stayed with the St. Louis Cardinals as a first-year player, and he won 3 and lost 3 in 37 ball games. He had 2 starts, so he had 35 relief appearances. The 2-0 delivery is outside and low, and it's ball 3. 3 balls, no strikes. On deck batter for the Mets, Cleon Jones. 1 man out, top of the 6th. They need 1 to tie. The pitch back to the plate is called a strike of the knees. Boyer tries to get the pitch as he moves out towards first base, but it's called strike 1. 3 balls, 1 strike. Foul balls are 330 down each line, 414 feet in center field, and 386 in left center and right center in this new ballpark. 3 balls, 1 strike. And the pitch this time misses, ball 4. So Riles walks his second man. He had walked Eddie Cranepool in the second, and that cost him a run. And the batter coming up is Cleon Jones, who has a single and 2 times up. One time they got him out, he lined out to right field. Jones batting .287. Right-hand batter. Jones has had 2 home runs. He's driven in 19. Singled and scored in the second. Cardinals 3, 3, the Mets 2, 1 out, top of the 6th. And the first pitch to Cleon is a curveball that is outside and low, and it's ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. Mets and Cardinals have played 7 times this year. Cardinals have won 5 of the 7. The Mets are 1-1 in St. Louis and have no decisions here in this new ballpark. They played their first 2 ball games in the old stadium. 1-0 pitch is swung on and fouled down the dirt, and Cleon Jones goes right to the ground. He fouled that ball off his left foot. Now he gets up limping away. Cleon missed the second game of the doubleheader, the latter part, when he turned an ankle. Now he's limping around the batter's box, trying to walk off the pain. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Leon's done a fine job for the Mets this year. Now he's back in the batter's box to count 1 ball, 1 strike. Last year for the Mets batted 149 and played 30 games. Here's a 1-1 pitch. 2 low, and it's ball 2. 2 balls, 1 strike. And Nelson Browse behind Cleon Jones with Ken Boyer at first. Ken represents the tying run. Jones batted 269 at Buffalo last year, along with his appearances with the Mets. 23 years of age. Started playing ball in 1963. Browse at 2-1, and the pitch is hit down through the middle. Going to his left is Maxwell. He comes up with the ball, goes to the bag, steps on it, throws to first base for the double play that retires the side. No runs, no hits, no errors, a walk, and no one left on base in the score at the end of 5 1/2. The Cardinals 3, the Mets 2. Now here's a word from Rheingold.
I don't know the reason. I can't tell you why. More people like Rheingold appear extra dry. But we must be doing something. Yes, we must be doing something right. Yes, we must be doing something. Woo! We must be doing something right. Pour me another mug of that Rheingold exercise here. Woo! Yes, we must be doing something. Woo! We must be doing something right.
Bottom half of the 6th, the Cardinals leading 3-2. Dick Selma completing his warm-up pitches on the mound for the Mets. He has gone all the way to this point. Other games in the National League at the end of 4 1/2. Atlanta 4, Philadelphia 2. Roebuck now pitching for the Phillies and placing Chris Short. Conacher going for the Braves. Story hit his 15th in the 2nd with no one on. Oliver had one in the 4th with no one on. And Callison had a home run in the 5th for the Phillies with no one on. At the end of 5 1/2 innings, Houston 2, the Dodgers 1. Drysdale trying to win his 5th game. He's lost 8. Robin Roberts, who has a 3-4 record in the game for the Astros. Only game scheduled in the National League, the exception of the game right here in St. Louis. First man up is Tim McCarver. He has flied out to center field. It's 2 times up. Batting at 271, a left-hander, and he takes the first pitch, a curveball. It bounces in the dirt and bounces away. In the American League, Washington defeated Cleveland 4-2. The winning pitcher was Pete Rickard. His record now 8-6. Losing pitcher was O'Donohue. Colavito had a home run in the 7th with no one on, and Doug Camilli had a home run in the 6th with no one on for the Senators. At the end of 7, Chicago 2, Kansas City 1. Joe Horton working on that one for the White Sox. Sanders replacing Stafford for Kansas City. Phil Roop, a homer in the 5th with no one on. Next pitch is called ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes. Also scheduled Minnesota against the Angels out on the coast. Abbreviated action in the National and the American League on this Monday night, but the action right here is 3-2 in favor of the Cardinals. No one out. We're in the bottom half of the 6th. Dick Selma working for the Mets. Struck out his last 2 batters for a total of 4 strikeouts in the ball game. He has given up 6 hits. He's walked 1, and that cost him a run in the first inning. Next pitch is high and away, and it's ball 3. 3 balls, no strikes. After Tim McCarver, the batter will be Mike Shannon. He'll be followed by Jerry Buschek. 3 balls, no strikes. Very pleasant night tonight here in St. Louis. Here's a 3-0 pitch. It's in for a called strike, and Tim McCarver tried to steal it as he jumped away from the plate. But the pitch called strike 1 by Doug Harvey. Umpire at first base is Harry Windelstadt. At second base, Jack Crawford, and at third base, Ed Bargo. They rotate around. The clockwise direction to take the umpiring duties the next day. 3 balls, 1 strike. And the pitch, line into center field, a base hit. Tim McCarver rounds at first base and holds there. Cleon Jones comes up with the ball and tosses it in to Ron Hunt. So Tim McCarver, the leadoff batter in the bottom half of the 6th, is on, and the batter now coming up is Mike Shannon. 7th base hit for the Cardinals. Base hit his first time up to drive in a run. Gave the Cardinals their 3rd run in the first inning. They lead 3-2. Rounded out to short his 2nd time up. He now has 13 runs batted in and is batting .248. Bill Hepler warming up in the bullpen for the Mets along with Larry Bernard. The first pitch is blowing away and it's ball 1, and Shannon was not bunting. Ken Boyer was playing in, but he did not charge. Rainfall at first base, holding against the runner there, was not charging either. 1 ball, no strikes. No one out, bottom half of the 6th. Hawk Taylor journey to the mound to talk it over with Selma, now back behind home plate. Selma in the set position. And the pitch is fouled off. Ball over the top of the screen, going out of play, and the count now at 1 ball and 1 strike. Shannon checking with third base coach Joe Schultz. Dick Sisler is the coach at first base for the Cardinals. Joe, a former Major League catcher, and Dick, a former Major League first baseman. 1 ball, 1 strike. Throw to first base, but Cranepool does not make a tag as Tim McCarver was back easily. Sisler also plays some outfield. His father's in the stands here tonight. Pitch back, and it's in there for a call, strike 2. 1 ball and 2 strikes. George Sisler, who was a famous pitcher in the major leagues and also a famous first baseman for the St. Louis Browns. Strike. No one out, bottom half of the 6th. The Cardinals lead 3-2. Dick Selma working for the Mets. His pitch. Hit foul again, coming back out of play. Well, the Cardinals stay at 1 ball and 2 strikes. System here at this new ballpark looks tremendous. The old ballpark, a little outdated. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Selma taking plenty of time between pitches. Now he gets set. McCarver at first base. And a changeup is high, almost over the head of Arcader. He had to jump up to one-handed. 2 balls and 2 strikes. That's one of the few changeups that Selma's throwing tonight. He's been relying on his fastball and his curveball, been using the curve well. With Lou Brock on third base in the second inning with 2 men out, he struck out Phil Gagliano with a 3-2 curveball. His last 2 strikeouts have been off the fastball. Now 2-2, the pitch is inside, and Mike Shannon has to fall away, and the count fills out to 3-2. On deck batter, the second baseman, Jerry Buschek. So Shannon now checking with the coach to see whether or not the runner will be going on the 3-2 count with no one out here in the bottom half of the 6th. Cardinals lead 3-2. Selma checking his outfield there straight away. And now the pitch, the runner going. The pitch is swung on a miss. The throw to second base in time. The tag made by Ron Hunt in time, and he is out. So the Mets get a strikeout double play on the 3-2 pitch with Selma coming in with a good strike. And the base runner is erased, and it brings up Jerry Buschek. Ron Hunt made the tag. Got to throw him plenty of time, then got right down in front of the bag, so the runner could not get in. Let's get the first double play of this ball game. Cardinals have had one also. That came in the 6th inning. We're in the bottom half of the 6th. Cardinals lead 3-2, and Jerry Buschek is the batter. Jerry has a base hit and 2 times up. Took a good play by Ron Hunt to get him out in the first inning. With Mike Shannon on at first base with 2 men out. First pitch, a big curve and a swing and a miss. Buschek was way out in front, strike 1. Jerry batting .252 with 2 home runs and 16 runs batted in. Got his first Major League home run against the Mets. In fact, he got his first 2 Major League home runs against the Mets in 1965. 1 strike delivery, swung on a miss. Again, the curveball, strike 2. Buschek has hit 3 in the Major League. Two-strike count. Dick Selma now checking in. His wind-up and pitch. Again, the curve. This one bounces in the dirt. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Arcader catching for the New York Mets. Got that throw away and got it down to second base in plenty of time. He had something on it. Lou Brock has had a stolen base in this ball game, his 24th. Down at 1-2. High fly ball hit out to left field. Johnny Lewis coming in. It's up there. And he makes the catch and that retires the side. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, a double play, and no one left on base. And the score through 6. The Cardinals 3, the Mets 2.
This is Don McNeil. You know, the magic in Aladdin's lamp was really very little when you compare it to the miracle of radio. Radio brings you total sound as nothing else can. It's your magic bridge to the worlds of music, sports, news, comedy, drama, religion, science, and public affairs. Radio takes you to any part of the world in a fraction of a second. It entertains, informs, educates. You can take the magic of radio with you to any room in the house. To work, to the store, to the country, or the mountains. For a picnic, to the beach, or in your car while driving. Radio is versatile, too. With a twist of the dial, you can satisfy your every listening mood, from show music to film music, from hootenanny to classical, from folk music to dance music, from sing-along to western. And best of all, you don't have to stop what you're doing to enjoy radio. All you do is listen. That's the magic of radio, the sound of year-round pleasure.
here tonight. A total of 33,136 in the ballpark. It's family night. And there are also stadium workers in this ballpark tonight as guests of the management. The paid attendance, 18,639. So a fine Monday night crowd. Mets are trailing 3-2 as they come to bat here in the top of the seventh. Their first batter will be Ed Cranepool. On the mound, Nelson Riles. He has gone all the way to this point. And the first pitch is running out to third. Picked up by the third baseman and thrown over the first base in time for the out. A good play by Phil Gagliano as Eddie Cranepool tries to punt his way on. Bob Riles gets his first out with one pitch, and it brings up Johnny Lewis. Eddie now is 0 for 2. He had lined out to center field and walked and scored a run in the second. Johnny Lewis, batting at .218, has one hit and 2 times up. Hey, look for the Rheingold Chug-a-Mug display at your local store. The Chug-a-Mug looks and sounds just like what it is. A good thirst-quenching drink of beer. 12 ounces of Rheingold Extra Dry, and you can drink it right from the mug. First pitch to Johnny Lewis is taken low and it's ball one. Johnny singled in the run his first time up in the second. A line shot off the glove of Tito Francona at first base. Rolled out into shallow right field and gave Leon Jones a chance to score from second. Mike Shannon has a bullet out there for an arm. Or as Bob put it, a cannon. Next pitch is called a strike. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. The ball was hit so hard that if it had gone through by Tito Francona into right field, it's doubtful whether or not Leon Jones could have scored. But Francona floated up, and that allowed Jones to score and also put Cranepool at third, where he later on scored on a sacrifice fly. A little ground ball hit slowly down to first base. Francona picks it up this time with no difficulty right by the bag, makes the play there for the second out of the inning. Right now we'll pause for station identification. This is the New York Mets Baseball Network.
The voice of the Mets in the great Northeast, WGY Schenectady and WGFM. The time is 2 minutes past 11.
Ralph Kiner along with Bob Murphy and Lindsey Nelson from St. Louis, Missouri. First pitch to Arquette is a curveball by Nelson Riles. It's called a ball. Cardinals lead 3-2, 2 men out in the top of the seventh. All the scoring in the first 2 innings. Cardinals got 3 in the first. The Mets came back to get 2 in the second. And both starting pitchers in, Nelson Riles and Dick Salmon. Another ground ball hit out towards first. Nelson Riles comes off the mound charging. Comes up with a good play. He picked it up. Didn't have that much to worry about, as Arquette would have been an easy out if he had played the ball easier. But he made the play, and that retires the side. 3-1 if you're scoring, and a 1-2-3 inning. And the score at the end of 6 1/2. The Cardinals 3, the Mets 2. Now here's the word from Rheingold.
Well, I am a lonely and a lonesome traveler. I am a lonely and a lonesome traveler. I am a lonely and a lonesome traveler. I've been traveling on. I travel here and then
From California to New York, the American folk singer travels here and yonder, carrying with him the music of the whole world and its people. And sometimes when the traveling gets thirsty, he puts down his guitar and accompanies himself with a cold beer, maybe Rheingold. And in New York City, where more songs and travelers stop than anywhere else in the world, more people buy Rheingold Extra Dry than any other beer. How come? Maybe it's the Oregon hops we use. Who knows? But we must be doing something right.
Bottom half of the 7th inning, the Cardinals batting, and they lead in the ball game by a 3-2 score. Cardinals with 3 runs and 7 hits. And the first batter will be Dal Maxwell. Dal had a single his last time up off Dick Selma. Dick has gone through the first 6 innings, giving up 3 runs, allowing 7 hits, while striking out 4 and walking 1. To make it striking out 5, he got a strikeout double play in the 6th inning. Maxwell batting an even 200, but no home runs, and 3 runs batted in, a right-hand batter. And he slices one down the right field line, but Al Lupo shaded there, and he goes over and makes the catch near the foul line. Ball was well hit, but Luplo shaded over toward the foul line against Maxwell's right-hand hitting. Made the play for the out. So Selma gets a quick out. And now the batter coming up is Nelson Briles, the pitcher. Nelson is 0 for 2. He's had one hit and 19 times up this year. In the fourth inning, with one man out and runners at first and second, he was up where he could have been in a bunting situation, but Red Chandies let him hit, which would indicate that he might be a good hitter. He lines one to right field. Al Lupo going back. He turns and makes the catch. Deep fly ball to right field. So on two pitches, Dick Selma has two men out. Now the batter coming up is Lou Brock. Lou walked his first time up with a 3-1 pitch as the leadoff batter in the ballgame for the Cardinals. He stole second base, his 24th stolen base in 27 tries. Went over to third base on an infield hit by Phil Gagliano, and then scored when Kurt Flood singled to center field. Cardinals got two more after that to take a 3-0 lead. The Mets got their 2 runs at the top of the second. Lou Brock has one hit and 2 official times up to go along with a walk, and he takes the first pitch. It's ball 1. His base hit was a triple into right center field in the second. He was left at third base when Phil Gagliano struck out as Dick Selma picked up his second strikeout in the ball game. Now Selma back again. It's hit off the hands down towards short. He'll beat it out. Lou picks it up, throws to first base, but no chance. Dick Selma got him right in the hands, but the ball was hit out toward shortstop just by Ken Boyer, who tried to get to it.
We will be back.
And when Eddie Basu made the move in to come up with the ball, it was too late. Brock flying down the baseline gets his second hit of the ball game. That's number 8 off Dick Selma. And of course now the situation where Lou Brock might be stealing. 2 men out, bottom half of the 7th. And the batter is Phil Gagliano. Phil's not a power hitter. He's had 1 home run. Brock with a big lead. He's going to pitch a pitch out. The throw to second base is high, and he slides in safely. Well, everyone in the ballpark knew that Brock was going, including Hot Taylor, who pitched out, but he didn't get the throw down there low enough, and that gave Brock a chance to steal his second base of the ball game. Number 25 for him, and now he's in scoring position. 1 ball count. The pitch back is swing at a curveball, a foul tip, and the count now 1 ball and 1 strike. And Brock walked his first time up in the first. He stole in the very first pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. 2 men out, bottom half of the 7th. The Cardinals leading 3-2. Now Dick Selma sets up again. They pitch to the plate, a curveball, too low, and it's ball 2. 2 balls, 1 strike. Gagliano has 1 hit and 3 times up. He dribbled an infield hit down toward third base his first time up in the first and scored. Has an average of 284. And the pitch back to the right-hand batter, bounced slowly towards short. Eddie Basu charging. The play to first base is in the dirt. The ball dropped. Clark goes to third base and stays there. Ground ball down to shortstop. Eddie Basu had to charge it, and he threw quickly, but threw low to first base. Green Poole dropped the ball. He was in more of the act of trying to keep it from getting too far away because Lou Brock had moved over to the third, and the ball had rolled away too far. Brock could have scored. It is being scored an error against Eddie Basu on the throw, and now runners at first and third with Kurt Flood batting. Singled in a run his first time up is 1 for 3. He has now 40 runs batted in. He's batting .313, and his first pitch a curveball in the dirt. Ball bouncing right on front of home plate, and the run is holding. Brock at third base. Phil Gagliano at first base. 2 men out, bottom half of the seventh. This is a very important position for the Mets. They trail by 1. 1 ball count. Selma sets up again. His pitch to the plate is a curveball up, big swing and a miss. Strike 1. Bert Flood was not fooled. He just missed the ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Outfield not deep. Flood has had 4 home runs this year. Now Selma back again. And a wild pitch. Lou Brock coming in to score from third base. Phil Gagliano going down to second base, rounding there and then holding. Dick Selma firing low and away outside of the glove of Hot Taylor. The ball going back to the screen. A wild pitch, and the Cardinals now lead 4-2. So an infield hit, a stolen base, an error, and a wild pitch. And the Cardinals have a 4-2 lead with Phil Gagliano down at second base. Down at 2 balls and 1 strike. On deck batter, Tito Francona. Joe Selma has some room at first base. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Low outside fastball, ball 3. Backhand catch by Hawk Taylor. 3 balls, 1 strike. Three balls, 1 strike. Selma a long look at the time. He now sets up. And the 3-1 delivery is hit hard down to second. Taken on 1 hop by Ron Hunt. And he makes the play to first base in time to retire the side. But in the inning, the Cardinals had a run on a base hit. There was 1 error, a wild pitch. 1 man left on. And the score at the end of 7, the Cardinals 4, the Mets 2. Other games in the National League. At the end of 6, Atlanta 5, Philadelphia 2. Chris Short, the starting pitcher for the Phillies, knocked out in the 4th inning. Ed Roebuck is now pitching for Philadelphia. Tony Cloninger going all the way to this point for Atlanta. Gallison's had a home run in the 5th off Cloninger. But Atlanta has countered with 2 home runs, one by Joe Torre in the 2nd with no one on. His 15th, one by Oliver in the 4th with no one on. At the end of 7, the Dodgers scoring a run in the top of the 7th to tie the ball game up with Houston at 2-2. Don Drysdale pitching for the Dodgers. He is 4-8 in the year. Mike Queller has come in for the Astros in place of Robin Roberts in the 8th inning. Only game scheduled in the National League. The American League has abbreviated schedule. Washington 4, Cleveland 2 final. Winning pitcher was Pete Rickard. Losing pitcher O'Donohue. Rickard now 8-6. Talavino and Doug Camelli had home runs in the ball game. At the end of 7 1/2 innings, Chicago 3, Kansas City 1. Pizarro now pitching for the White Sox. Sanders going for Kansas City. Phil Roof had a home run in the 5th with no one on in that ball game. Starting pitchers, Minnesota at California. Bud Grant going for the Twins. His record 5-8 against George Brunette, who has won 5 and lost 4. We're now at the top of the 8th inning. The Mets trailing by 2 runs. And here for the play-by-play once again, Bob Murphy.
All right, Ralph. Chuck Hiller is coming out to bat for Dick Selma as we go to the 8th inning. As a pinch hitter this year, Chuck has had an amazing record. 11 hits in 24
home runs in the ball game. At the end of 7 1/2 innings, Chicago 3, Kansas City 1. Pizarro now pitching for the White Sox. Sanders going for Kansas City. Phil Roof had a home run in the 5th with no one on in that ball game. Starting pitchers, Minnesota at California. Bud Grant going for the Twins. His record 5-8 against George Brunette, who has won 5 and lost 4. We're now at the top of the 8th inning. The Mets trailing by 2 runs. And here for the play-by-play once again, Bob Murphy.
All right, Ralph. Chuck Hiller is coming out to bat for Dick Selma as we go to the 8th inning. As a pinch hitter this year, Chuck has had an amazing record. 11 hits in 24 times at bat. And Ryle starting Chuck off with a curve. It's inside at low, ball 1.
Dick Selma, after a shaky opening inning in which he gave up 3 runs, settled down and pitched an outstanding ball game. Now the windup by Browse, and the fastball is low, 2-0. Dick Selma walked the first batter he faced tonight. That turned out to be the only walk given up by Dick Selma. 2-0 delivery by Browse. It's in for a call strike. 2-1 on Chuck Hiller. Now Browse, 2-1 delivery. A ground ball slowly hit down the first baseline. Fielded even with the bag by Francona. He steps on first, making the play unassisted. Retired on a ground ball. Now the top of the order, and Ron Hunt coming up. That's Freeling, 4-2. We're in the top of the 8th inning. This looks like a good time to light up a Cool for the most refreshing taste in smoking today. Cool Filter Kings. Ron has 1 hit and 3 times up. He beat out an infield hit to shortstop his last time at bat in the 5th inning. Over the last 5 innings, Nelson Browse has allowed only 1 base hit. It's in for a strike. Both starters, Browse and Selma, were shaky in the beginning. Both then settled down and they have pitched very well. Selma gave up 3 runs in the first and then only an unearned run in the last of the 7th inning the rest of the way. High pop fly on the left side of the infield. Calling for it is the shortstop, Dal Maxwell, and he has it for the out. Now there are 2 away, nobody on top of the 8th inning, and the hitter is Ed Brasseau. Eddie has singled to left, taken a call, 3rd strike, and hit into a force play, 1 for 3. Eddie Brasseau batting at 236. Al Luplo is the on-deck batter. Off the outside corner, 1 ball and no strikes. St. Louis, 4 runs on 8 hits. New York, 2 runs on 4 hits. We're in the top of the 8th inning. Low and outside, 2 balls and no strikes. Cardinals are in a good spurt right now. They beat the Phillies Saturday night with Al Jackson going the route, and then they swept the doubleheader from Philadelphia yesterday. Up high, ball 3, 3-0. Tomorrow night, Bob Shaw will be pitching for New York. Bob won his 2nd game, his last outing Friday night in Cincinnati. Billy Hepler and Larry Bernard are both warming up in the Mets bullpen, and one or the other will take over the pitching in the last of the 8th. Ball 4 is outside, and Eddie Brasseau has walked on 4 pitches. Third walk by Nelson Browse. Browse has walked 3, struck out 2, permitted 2 runs, 4 hits. Al Luplo 0 for 3 this evening. Al has reached on a fielder's choice and twice grounded out to the 2nd baseman, Jerry Buschek. So Al is the tying run at bat with 2 men down here on the top of the 8th inning. Curve is in. Strike 1 call. Count on Al Luplo. Francona not holding against Eddie Brasseau. And the fastball is off the outside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike. Bill Gagliano in close at 3rd against Luplo. Maxwell, the shortstop, shaded toward 2nd. And now Flood is moving over to a straightaway center field position. He did have Luplo shaded a little bit toward left center.
count is 1-1, and the pitch by Bryles, a line shot over second into center field, a base hit. Eddie Pursuit around second and holds there as the tying runs are on with 2 men down at the 8th inning. Jimmy Boyer coming up. Ken has fouled out to first, grounded out to short. His last time at bat, he reached on a walk. Boyer hitting .288. He is the club leader in home runs and runs batted in. Leon Jones coming up the dugout steps and moving out to the on-deck circle. Now the Mets with 2 men down get a rally going against Nelson Bryles. That is the 5th base hit of the ball game. Joe Horner and Don Dennis are now warming up in the St. Louis bullpen. Bill Hepler and Larry Benoff warming for New York. Here's the pitch to Kenny Boyer. A foul ball hit down the third base line, no play. Over 22,000 employees and their families who participated in the construction of the new stadium here in St. Louis have now seen the Cardinals in action. Now Billy Hepler is sitting down and Jack Hamilton is starting to get ready in the bullpen. Ken Boyer stepping out. That's trailing 4-2. The tying runs are on. 2 men away. Top of the 8th inning. Bryles, a very deliberate worker, particularly when he gets somebody on. Now looks in for his sign from McCarver. Eddie Pursuit on second. Al Luplo on first. Here's the pitch on the way. This is the outside corner. 1 ball and 1 strike. Yogi Berra and Whitey Herzog talking it up on the coaching line. Flood playing Boyer deep and over toward the alley in left center. Now the pitch. A foul ball right straight back. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Bryles retired the first 2 men up. He got pinch hitter Chuck Hiller. Then retired Ron Hunt on an infield pop fly, but he walked in for Sue, and Al Luplo drilled a single to center field. Up in pitching position. Kicks the leg. Around comes the arm. A drive in the air to right field. Shannon is there, and he makes the catch. Everybody held their breath as rooting for the Cardinals because just for a moment Shannon slipped. And it looked as though he might fall down, but he held his footing. The ball was right there. He put his glove up and snagged it. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 2 left on. Boyer hit the ball hard, but right to the right fielder, Mike Shannon. Now, at the end of 7.5 innings, the St. Louis Cardinals 4 and the New York Mets 2. That's Bugles and Drums, and you'll hear that each evening Monday through Friday at 5:45 on WGY when I bring you Spotlight on Sports, the only full 15-minute radio program in the area devoted exclusively to sports news of the day. This is Bill Carpenter inviting you to hear Sports Spotlight each day and to tune in Mondays and Thursdays at 5 minutes past 7 p.m. for 2 new programs of auto racing news, Northeast Racing Roundup on Mondays and Speedway Highlights on Thursdays. And these programs are only part of WGY's
extensive and intensive coverage of sports. Monday through Friday at 6:15, horse racing fans will like Howard Tupper's Track Talk. Golf enthusiasts will enjoy Bill Edwardson's Golf Talk on Thursdays at 6:35 p.m. with questions from golfers and answers from pros. All this plus Mets baseball and national sports coverage from NBC on WGY, your reliable station for sports in 26 counties of New York and New England.
Coming in now for New York, last of the 8th inning. Larry had 2 good innings of relief in the opening game of yesterday's doubleheader at Cincinnati. He allowed no runs with just 1 hit, and the 1 hit was the result of a mix-up on a fly ball to short center. Tito Francona will lead off against Benares in the last half of the 8th. Dick Salma, pitching 7 innings, allowed 4 runs, 8 hits, walked 1, and struck out 5. Only 1 of the 4 runs scored off Dick Selma was an earned run. Dick looking better tonight than at any time since he was injured on Memorial Day. He got off shakily in the opening inning and was hurt by an error. 3 runs came in. Only 1 of the 3 was earned. Then Selma certainly settled down and got himself into a good pitching groove. Over the next 6 innings, he gave up just 1 run, and it was unearned. Tito Francona has grounded to first, flied to right, been struck out, nothing for 3. Veteran left-hand hitter bends from the waist. Here's the windup, pitched by Bedard. A drive in the air to deep center. Back goes Cleon. He's under it. Not far from the track. He puts it away for the out. Nobody on. 1 man out on 1 pitch ball, and that brings up Tim McCarver. The last of the 8th inning in the Astrodome, the Astros scratched out 2 runs against the Dodger pitching staff. Baranowski and Regan were both used by Walter Alston in relief of Drysdale. So now they go to the 9th inning with the Astros leading the Dodgers 4-2. The Atlanta Braves on home runs by Joe Torre and Gene Oliver leading Philadelphia 5-2. They're in the 7th inning. McCarver drove in a run with a sacrifice fly deep to center, and single to center, 1 for 2. Left-hand hitter and a good line drive hitter takes the pitch over, strike 1 call. McCarver hitting .275. Big surge by St. Louis has been made on the pitching, particularly of Bob Gibson and Ray Washburn. Gibson has won 9 of his last 10 decisions. Into his windup. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball in the dirt. 1 ball, 1 strike. Mike Shannon, the right fielder, is the on-deck hitter. We're in the last of the 8th inning. The Redbirds with a 4-2 lead. Benares over the head. Down comes the arm. Fly ball into center field. Waiting under the ball is Cleon. He taps the glove and puts it away for the out. 2 outs, nobody on. We pause for station identification. This is the New York Mets Baseball Network. With Ralph Kiner and Lindsey Nelson from Busch Memorial Stadium in St. Louis, bottom half of the 8th inning. Cardinals 4, the Mets 2. Larry Benares pitching in relief. 2 outs, nobody on. The pitch to Shannon. Fastball just under the knees. 1 ball and no strikes. Tim McCarver and Mike Shannon have each driven in a run for the Cardinals tonight. Slow ground ball down the third baseline, racing in Boyer. The throw, out, He has something on the throw, and it was right to Greenpool. Shannon beats it out for a leg hit. Cardinals have had an unusual number of leg hits in the ballgame. That is their 9th hit of the ballgame, and it brings up Jerry Buschek. He has 1 for 3, a single. Buschek, right-hand batter, hitting at 250. That infield hit for St. Louis, their 3rd of the game. Low outside, 1 ball and no strikes. They had another hit that was more of the scratch variety, that was a ball hit toward the hole that went off Eddie Pursue's glove and into the outfield. So that would be 4 of their total of 9. They all count. Now the pitch on the way. Just misses the outside corner, 2-0 on Jerry Buschek. Bob Shaw and Jack Fisher pitched the remaining 2 games of the series. They were both winners in their last start Friday night in Cincinnati. Fisher gave up just 1 run. It was unearned. Now Bedard delivers 2-0. Ground ball bounced towards short. Pursued to his left. Backhands the ball to Hunt. Force play on the side is out. Nice play by Eddie Pursuit. He had to range further for that than we first thought he would, and he made a good play on the ball. Bad retired. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 left. Now, at the end of 8 innings, the St. Louis Cardinals 4, the New York Mets 2. A week from tonight, it's the Mayor's Trophy game at Shea Stadium. The Mets playing the Yankees, with every penny of the proceeds going to help the Mayor's Sandlot baseball program in the greater New York area. This game has been turning over a lot of money for a very worthwhile cause, the Mayor's baseball program. And, of course, it's a wonderful evening. A lot of fun, a lot of excitement. Last year, the Mets won the ball game 2-1. Each game has been a good one. The Mets is the host team defraying the cost this year so that all the proceeds go to the charity. Phillies are in a week from tomorrow night, the 28th of June. Mets will then open a week at home in which they play the Phillies and the Pirates, including a doubleheader with Pittsburgh on Sunday, July 3rd. As well as a day game Saturday and a night game on Friday night, the first night of July. The Philadelphia series, a night game Tuesday, a day game Wednesday, and a night game Thursday. Then the Mets go on the road for 1 week, which leads us right up to the All-Star break. The All-Star game this year will be right here in the new stadium in St. Louis. Ninth inning, Cleon Jones hoping to get it going against Nelson Briles, who has gone all the way. Briles, shaky in the beginning, over the last 6 innings, has allowed only 2 base hits. He gave up 2 runs, allowed 3 hits in the first 2 innings. Too high, the fastball missing, 1 ball and no strikes. Leon has singled to right, lined to right, and hit into a double play, 1 for 3. Jones hitting 284. He takes it all away. It's on the outside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike. Tonight's game is only the 3rd this year the Mets have played in St. Louis. Each team has won 1 in the previous 2 games. Low and outside, 2-1. The Chicago White Sox, with Joe Horland winning his 3rd of the year, defeated Kansas City tonight 3-1. Bill Stafford, the loser. Bill Roof hit the game's only home run to spoil the shutout bid by Horland. However, Horland had help from Locker in the 8th and Pizarro in the 8th inning. Final score, the White Sox 3 and the Kansas City A's 1. Inside and high, and now it's 3-1 on Cleon Jones. Pete Rickard won his 8th game. He went all the way, pitching a 7-hitter as Washington beat Cleveland 4-2. John O'Donohue was the loser with Dick Raditz in the 8th inning. Calavito and Camilli hit home runs. Mets 3-1 on Cleon Jones, leading off the ninth. Nobody on, nobody out. St. Louis 4, New York 2. Flood playing Cleon a little bit toward right center. Now the pitch. Fastball over, 3-2. Will have Cleon Jones, Eddie Cranepool, and Johnny Lewis to try and do something here in the ninth. Nelson Briles, 22-year-old right-hander from Chico, California, is into his windup. The payoff pitch. Too high, it's ball 4, and Cleon goes to first base. That is the fourth walk given by Briles, and it brings Red Shandines down to the dugout. Shandines is on his way to the mound. Mets now will have the tying run coming up as Jones reaches on a walk, leading off the ninth inning. No sign yet by the Cardinal skipper. Maxwell and Gagliano and McCarver all on the mound along with manager Shandines. Now the sign goes to the bullpen for the left-hander. That may mean Joe Horner or Hal Woodishik. As we mentioned earlier, the bullpens are out of sight here in the new stadium in St. Louis. He did have Joe Horner warming up in the last inning. Horner is a sidearm left-hander who pitched in the minor leagues in the Pacific Coast League in Oklahoma City the last 2 years and turned in outstanding minor league records. He was of a Houston organization and was drafted by the Cardinals this past winter. Horner has the best earned run average of all the Cardinal pitchers. He has given up less than one earned run a ball game. It'll be Joe Horner, H-O-E-R-N-E-R, from Dubuque, Iowa, coming in. This will be his 20th appearance. Horner has won one and lost none. He's been used as the short man in relief. Mentioned the tidy earned run average posted so far by Joe Horner in 19 ball games at a total of 23 innings. He has given up only 2 earned runs, so his earned run average is 0.7. Officially, he has 3 saves, so he leads the relief staff in saves. And now Nelson Briles getting ahead as he leads the ball game. For Nelson Briles, he pitched a superb game for the Cardinals. He got off shakily, but settled down and pitched very well. So while Joe Horner is getting warmed up, final score has just come in on the Dodger game, and Ralph will bring you up to date.
Well, the Astros defeated the Dodgers 4-2. The winning pitcher was Mike Queller in relief. He came in the ball game in the 8th inning. The Astros won it with 2 runs in the bottom half of the 8th. Losing pitcher was Don Drysdale. His record now 4-9. And Queller has a record of 5 wins and no losses. 33,437 saw that game in Houston. And the Philadelphia Phillies have scored 3 runs in the top of the 7th to tie up their ball game with Atlanta at 5-5. Ray Herbert now pitching for Philadelphia. Tony Cloninger, the starting pitcher, still in for Atlanta. Home runs by Torrey and Oliver for the Braves, and Callison had one for the Phillies. In the American League, at the end of their ball game at Washington, the Senators won it over Cleveland 4-2. Winning pitcher was Pete Rickard, the losing pitcher O'Donohue, Colavito, and Camelli home runs. White Sox defeated Kansas City 3-1. The winning pitcher was Joe Horland, the losing pitcher was Stafford, and Phil Roof had the only home run of the ball game. And at the end of 1.5 innings, the Minnesota Twins won, the Angels won. Mudcat Grant coming up as the starting pitcher for the Twins, and he is being opposed by George Brunette. Now, Mincher had a homer in the 2nd with no one on for the Minnesota Twins to tie up the ball game in the top of the 2nd. Only game scheduled, and now, right now, here's Bob Murphy.
Ron Swoboda will now hit for Eddie Cranepool. The Cardinals pitching a left-hander, Joe Horner in relief of Briles, and here's the stretch. Now the pitch on the way. Sidearm fastball outside to Ron Swoboda. 1 ball, no strikes. Ron batting .197 with 2 home runs, 12 runs batted in. That's trailing by
by 2, and they have Cleon Jones on first base, nobody out. Pitch by Horner. A high fly ball to left center field. Flood moving in and over toward the alley is now under it and makes the catch. Ron Swoboda retired on the fly ball to left center. Now Johnny Lewis is being called back, and Billy Murphy is down around the bat rack. Billy, a right-hand batter, Lewis, a left-hand hitter. So again, Wes Westrom will go the percentages against the side-arming left-hander. Batting for Johnny Lewis. Billy hitting .245, has 3 home runs and 8 runs batted in. Billy gets a handful of dirt. Now steps in against the left-hander, Joe Horner. Horner brought from the bullpen by Red Shandies to try and protect the 2-run lead. We're in the top of the 9th inning. Now the pitch on the way. Inside and low. It was looked over by Billy Murphy. 1 ball and no strikes. Hawk Taylor is the on-deck batter. Billy lashes the bat around, waiting on Joe Horner. The 29-year-old southpaw pitches, and it's a pop foul back toward the dugout. No play. McCarver hustling back, but he had no chance. It drops in the seats. So it's 1 ball and 1 strike on Billy Murphy. The left fielder applying Billy Murphy deep. He's almost back to the warning track. The infield set up straight away. Francona is not holding against Cleon Jones. Now the pitch by Horner. On the outside corner, a called strike. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Trying to protect the lead for starter Nelson Briles. Yogi Berra coaching at first, giving directions to Cleon as he takes his lead off first. Now the pitch. Foul ball. Back into the screen. No play. It stays 1-2. Quiet moment here for the Mets as they dig in, trying to keep it going in the top half of the 9th inning. Joe Horner has his sign from McCarver, and the pitch to Billy Murphy. He held up just in time, and it was outside. He had Billy lensing that time, but the youngster had good bat control and held up just at the right moment. So the count is even at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Billy takes a big deep breath, trying to relax himself. Cocks that bat off the right shoulder. The pitch to him, a foul ball, back upstairs and out of play. Joe Horner, 29-year-old southpaw, who was taken in the draft last winter by the Cardinals. He's a left-hander who deals sidearm, and he throws hard. He doesn't get by on junk. He's a fastballer. And you can see why Wes Western wants those right-handers up against him, because he would certainly be tough. He's tough enough on the right-handers. He would really be tough on left-hand hitters. Now Horner into the stretch. His 2-2 pitch. A drive hit down the right field line, foul. No play. It goes over into the field box area.
he gets out of the batter's box, strolls around just a little bit. Leon Jones on first, 1 out, 9th inning. Cardinals in front by 2. Horner up in the set position. His pitch on the way. A fly ball hit to right field. Mike Shannon comes in. He's there and makes the catch 2 men down. So Horner has retired 2, and that leaves it up to Hawk Taylor. Hawk has flied to center, grounded out to third, and bounced back to the mound, nothing for 3. Some of the Cardinal fans now head toward the exits. As Hawk Taylor steps in with 2 men down, he is the tying run at bat. Horner delivers. A fly ball hit to right field, fairly deep. Ambling back is Shannon. He has room. He's under it. He makes the catch from the Cardinals' way. In the 9th inning, no runs, no hits, no errors, 1 left on. Final score, the St. Louis Cardinals 4 and the New York Mets 2.
And that's Mets baseball for today, brought to you by Rheingold, New York City's largest selling beer. And what a remarkable thing that is. In New York, a city of so many different people with different tastes, one beer has become the favorite, Rheingold Extra Dry. They don't know why so many people like their beer, but they must be doing something right. Today's game is also brought to you by WGY, your sports station for the great Northeast. WGY brings you the full schedule of the Mets' regular season games live from Major League parks throughout the country. Join us tomorrow evening, 8:55, same time, when we present another exciting New York Mets baseball game over 810 in your radio dial, WGY Schenectady. This is WGY News. 2 military attack bombers collided in flight over Buckrow Beach near Hampton, Virginia. 1 crashed in flames in a residential area, destroying or badly damaging 8 homes. Police say at least 4 persons are dead, possibly several more, all believed to be occupants of the houses. The Coast Guard at Norfolk reports that 4 airmen, 2 from each plane, were rescued from Chesapeake Bay. The planes involved were A-6 Marine Attack Corps bombers from Cherry Point, North Carolina. French President Charles de Gaulle has made a direct request for new understanding and cooperation with the communist states of Eastern Europe. At a banquet in the Kremlin tonight, welcoming him for an 11-day visit, de Gaulle said France wants to find a way out of what he calls the vicious circle of East-West confrontation. The Senate Ethics Committee did a flip-flop today. It started hearings on misconduct charges against Senator Thomas Dodd by ruling out as evidence copies of documents taken without authorization from his files. But after a day of closed hearings, Chairman John Stennis said the copies of the documents are being used in the probe. The committee's looking into Dodd's relations with a registered agent of West German business houses. In regional news, the Appellate Division of State Supreme Court has reversed a lower court ruling and upheld designation of Daniel Button of Albany as Liberal Party candidate for the 29th Congressional District. Supreme Court Justice Russell Hund had last week upheld an objection by Albany County Liberal Party Chairman James Hayes to Button's running as a Liberal. A final decision in the matter is expected tomorrow from the Court of Appeals. Button also is seeking the Republican designation in the district. The district includes Albany and Schenectady counties and part of Rensselaer County. A 4-alarm fire in the Rensselaer County community of Hoosick this evening has destroyed a restaurant and nightclub known as the Merry-Go-Round. No injuries were reported in the blaze, which reported just before 7 o'clock this evening. The establishment is owned by Stanford Rudnick and is located near the Vermont state line. An early morning explosion and 3-alarm fire destroyed the Columbia bowling lanes on Columbia Street Extension and Colony just north of the Latham Circle. The structure, built in 1958, was leveled despite the efforts of firemen from 5 companies. Damage was estimated at $250,000 to $300,000. There were no injuries. The lanes are near the Colony Summer Tent Theater, which was not affected. Also nearby are the ruins of the DeRusso Richards Rambler Auto Firm, which was destroyed in a fire on February 3rd of this year. The owner of the Columbia bowling lanes is a woman from New York City. The blast, which occurred at 4:15 a.m., blew out the east wall of the one-story structure, and the fire was well underway when the first fireman arrived. The cause is not known, but firemen say it might have started from escaping gas. Veteran Schenectady newsman Lansing Crispin will end a 40-year career when he leaves his post as WGY WRGB news editor July 10. He joined GE Broadcasting in 1947 after 13 years as news editor of the Altamont Enterprise. Crispin said he plans to devote more time as Schenectady County historian, a post to which he was named in January '65, and will expand his freelance writing, particularly in the field of nature and conservation. Crispin and his wife Lucille live on the 112-year-old ancestral Crispin Farm, which has been a bird and wildlife sanctuary since 1888. Turning to sports, in baseball in the American League, Washington 4 and Cleveland 2. Chicago White Sox 3, Kansas City 1. After 1.5, Minnesota and California tied up 1-1. In the National League, in a game just completed on WGY, St. Louis defeated the New York Mets 4-2. After 6.5 innings, Atlanta 5, Philadelphia 5, and Houston Astros defeated Los Angeles 4-2. Lightweight champion Carlos Ortiz of New York has successfully defended his title against Johnny Bizzarro in Pittsburgh. And a rallying Bill Casper took charge of the back nine and won the U.S. Open golf title in San Francisco, overcoming a faltering Arnold Palmer in their 18-hole playoff. The weather outlook: increasing clouds and warm tonight, scattered showers and thunder showers near the Canadian border, spreading southward over most of the area late tonight and Tuesday morning. The temperature at the Albany Airport, 66 degrees. And that's the news on WGY Schenectady.